Sup, fuckers?
How the hell are you guys?
Great. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Good.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Cara. I've been on the show before.
I'm Jessica. This is my first time.
Yay.
Nice.
Yay.
So we're going to talk about paranormal stories and high strangeness. So I want to get you guys' points of view. Are you a solid believer, skeptical believer? It's all horseshit. It's all real. Where are you guys at?
Solid believer.
Same. I definitely have had some experiences, and you can't tell me it's not real. So, definitely a believer.
It's true. So yeah, we're going to be telling some of these stories. There's one I want to get from your perspective, and I know you told me this story, but now you get to tell it on here where it's recorded. What was it, a few weeks ago when you saw that big black mass?
Oh, shit. Yes. That was a crazy one. I just got chills. That was scary.
Damn, we just got started.
Yeah, let's go. Let's send it. So the other night, so I have to sleep with CPAP because I'm like an old lady, but I'm sitting there sleeping, and like usually I don't have any like choking episodes or anything when I'm wearing that because it helps me breathe when I'm sleeping, and I'm sitting there dead asleep like that heavy deep sleep, and I just start like choking, but it didn't feel like I was choking from lack of like airflow. It felt more like something gripping my neck, just like pressure on my neck. And at first I thought it was our cat, because sometimes he'll lay on me like that because he's a little bitch. So I open my eyes and I'm like trying to see where he is, and he was there but not on me that high up on my throat. And I look up into the corner of the room by the door, like where sometimes there's a shadow there that looks kind of weird, but it's usually like solid because the curtains will be blocking like light coming in or whatever from the room. But this time it was like, it didn't have sharp edges or anything, and it was like pitch black, like way darker than normal. Like I couldn't even see we have a fire alarm right there in the corner. Couldn't even see it. It was that dark. And then like the edges were like fuzzy around it. And I just felt like that. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but like that feeling of like something evil in your presence, like
Dread.
yeah, like the dread and like
darkness,
the heaviness. And so I just did the prayer where you ask it to leave in the name of Jesus, and I saw it go up the wall and out, and it was just gone. It was weird, and then it was fine, and it was weird because all of those feelings just completely went away.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. I'm fucking tired and going back to sleep. And I was going to wake him up, but I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm just going to go back to bed. And I felt so peaceful after it still, because I knew it was gone. I just went right back to sleep.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, though. It took me a minute to be like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, so that was like, what was that, like a week before Timmy came over?
Yeah.
So the day Timmy came over...
He probably took it with him.
Hopefully.
Oh,
No,
that's
he didn't.
sad. He has
So
babies.
the day Timmy came over, and as soon as we sat down to do the podcast, the lights just dimmed by themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like the next day or 2 days later, I came down here. Like we had just, where did we go? We went somewhere and then came back.
I was at work. You and the kids went somewhere.
And it was nighttime, and I came down here and I turned on the light, and the light, I showed you that video, and the light just started flickering in sections of 3. It would just blink 3 times and then stop.
3 is not good.
Blink 3 times and then stop. So I was like, that's weird. And so I pulled out my phone and started recording it, and so I was like, I went upstairs and I was like, I'm going to record this. So I walked back down the stairs, and in the video, when I'm walking down the stairs, as soon as I turn the corner, you can hear something. I don't know what it is. Could have been one of the girls talking upstairs.
No, there's no way.
But
Didn't sound like that to me.
it didn't really sound like that. So you hear this voice, and I turn the corner, flip the light on, and it starts flickering like that. And I recorded for 18 seconds. Well, if you watch the video at like the 12-second mark, for some reason, I've never seen a video on my phone do this. It just skips.
It was like
I
his.
remember that.
It was like
On
his
video,
phone
like
just couldn't record that
yeah,
part.
it
It
skips.
was like 5 or 6 frames just got cut out
Yeah.
of the video.
Yeah,
Right.
It was crazy.
And so I was like, oh, that's weird. It's probably just an electrical thing. So I like took out the light bulbs, and they're still out right now because I haven't put them back in yet. And then the next day after that, I didn't even tell you about this. The next day, I was at work, and Cara was here. She was watching TV upstairs in the living room, and just watching TV. And one of my daughters has a purse that looks like a Chinese food container.
Oh, you did tell me this. Yeah,
did
keep
I?
going though.
So it's sitting right there on the entertainment center, and just like she's watching TV, and it just jumps off.
It went like this, though. Well, sorry, everybody listening, you can't see this, but it looked like when you grab an object and just like tip it gently on its side.
Mm-hmm.
It did that, and then just kind of toppled off of the entertainment center.
Yeah,
It was really weird.
Ghosts are like cats.
No,
Just
it literally looked like it got gently tipped over and then
Yeah.
just fell down. But so I didn't tell you about this, and Izzy, our daughter, experienced this with me. This is really crazy. I want to say it was sometime last week, maybe the week before. Can't remember. All of this has been happening in succession. This was a good experience. This was really weird. Gives me chills, actually. It's really cool. Her and I, it was like 2 a.m, and her and I went, and we were running in the sprinklers, because why not? That's
Why
fun.
not?
Why not? It's fun. So we're running in the sprinklers, so think about, I'm really cold, like, from the water, and the wind is going.
Mm-hmm.
The water's still on us. We come in, and we're just kind of like jumping around trying to get warmed up, and then I managed to like get really warm. And we're standing in the kitchen just joking and laughing and having fun. And I look over into the front room, and I just saw like this weird... It wasn't like a mass or anything, but just like a weird lighting in one little area,
Mm-hmm.
about the same height as me. And I was like looking at it thinking, oh, that's weird. And I stopped talking to her, and I'm like, do you see that? And she's like, no, Mom, what are you seeing? And I'm like, there's something right there. And she's like, don't scare me. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. And at this point, like, I was really warm from us jumping around. And I'm like, no, just stand here, see if you can feel it. Something's here. And so she's like, kind of freaked out. And all of a sudden, I get like these chills up one of my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it just touched me, whatever it is. I can feel it. I can feel it on me. And my daughter's freaking out at this point. She's like, what the hell? Mom, stop it. You're freaking me out. And I was like, no, come here. Come stand next to me. Both of us are really hot. And she's like, it's so cold. I'm like, yeah, can you feel that? It's really cold now. And I was like, it's touching my arms. It's holding my arms. And I was like, someone's here. And it's a good spirit. And I'm like, I think this is a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, this is weird. Because I've experienced stuff like this, but never with another person present.
Yeah.
So that was different. But my grandma used to like grab my hands, and she would do this to me, like rub my arms when she was talking to me. And that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But it was like a nice, warm presence. And I got like super emotional because I was like, this feels like her. But I don't know who it was. So it was really weird. And then it happened for a few minutes, and then she went away, or it went away like as just quick. And then the temperature in the room was normal again.
That's awesome.
But our daughter was even like, started to kind of notice like my skin reactions, and she's like, something's definitely here. That's really weird. So that was pretty cool. We didn't tell you about that. Did she tell you about that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that was maybe like, it was the night we went running.
You just
through
told
the
me that you
sprinklers.
guys went running through the sprinklers at like 2 a.m. I was like,
I was still kind of trying to process it.
Tight.
I know, I hesitate to share things like that because it sounds like you're crazy. Sometimes to a lot of people.
I think
only,
people
like,
want to.
squares, maybe.
Yeah, losers. I think people want to just go, oh, you're crazy, rather than try to relate or like get outside of themselves for a moment and believe somebody's story.
Yeah.
It's always kind of lame.
It definitely felt like it could have been her, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But the shadow I saw wasn't even a shadow. I don't even know how to explain it.
Just a bend in the light somehow.
Almost like a misty
Like Predator.
I was gonna say like Predator.
Almost like a misty type of thing, but she was the same height as me, and that's about how tall it was.
Yeah.
It was really odd. It was really cool, though.
That is cool.
So that's all I've ever really experienced in this house. I've never had anything else happen here.
So Jessica, you've lived in Tooele your whole life?
First 31 years, yes. So I'm 41, so.
And you've had some pretty crazy experiences in
Yes.
houses in Tooele.
Yes.
Tell us a good one.
Well, there's a few. So, from a very young age, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and, TV static?
Hmm.
Just imagine a wave of TV static just going down the hall and coming into your room like a wave and just going out. I would wake up and see that. And I never felt threatened. I just remember seeing that when I was little. I saw that all the time. And then when I was 6, we moved into a newer house. Well, it's still an old house, but we moved into a different house. And this house had activity. I remember waking up and, when you're like starting to open your eyes, I saw a young male. He was all gray, beady eyes. And I would guess he was in his teens. And he was just staring at me like, who are you? Kind of that look. And then he just faded away. And other stuff happened in the house, but one of the most memorable things that happened that has affected me to this day. I was 8 years old. I was having my first Holy Communion within the week. And I was at my grandma's house after school. My grandma babysat us, and I was in trouble. I don't know what I did, but I think I was mouthing off. So when my mom
Sounds
picked
about
us
right.
up, yeah. When my mom picked us up, mind you, this was in the middle of the winter. So I was in jeans, sweater. I had a winter coat on. And I've always had long hair. My hair was long past my butt, okay? Just remember that fact. And when I got home, I was sent straight to my room. I was crying, and I cried myself to sleep. My room, so the house was 3 levels. My room was the only room on the middle level, like the ground level, by the front door. So there's my bed. To the right of me is the window. There's a street light that shines pretty bright, and my blinds were open, so it was shining through. To my left is a dresser. And so basically, on the right side where the window is, there's a mirror. So if I'm laying on my right side, I can see through the mirror behind me. I can see the dresser, everything. I woke up in the middle of the night. I always wake up in the middle of the night. So I don't know if this is paranormal. It's happened since I was little. I just wake up at 2, 3 a.m. all the damn time. And I woke up, and I'm looking in my mirror, and I see a girl. She's standing in front of my dresser. She looks just like me, but she has short hair. She's wearing my favorite summer outfit. She's wearing a pink headband that I would wear. And she is standing with her arms just straight beside her, and she's staring out the window with her eyes open, like really big, like she's scared. But I did not have a good feeling. I was so terrified. I shook in my bed, and I prayed in my head, and I just, finally fell asleep. I closed my eyes. I was so terrified. I kept opening my eyes, and she was still there, staring out the window. It was so scary. And then my mom would come down in the morning, and she would go in the kitchen and blow dry her hair because she didn't want to wake up anybody else, but she'd wake me up. So anyway, so when I heard the blow dryer go off, I woke up, and I could see it looked like a black and a red cape, it's flowing in the air, and I could hear demonic laughs. It was so bizarre. And after that, I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't want this mirror in my room. I want this gone. I took it out. I stayed with my sister for 2 weeks in her bedroom. I was so scared. And my sister would make fun of me. She's like, oh, you woke up and saw yourself in the mirror, ha ha ha. And it's no, that's not what happened. And she's had scary situations too, really terrifying ones in that house. So it was so frustrating that she made fun of me, but she was just a mean older sister. Since that day, I have never had a mirror in my room, and I will not. If I stay somewhere else and I'm by myself and there's a mirror in the room, I will put something over it, or if it's small enough, I will put it in a closet, or I'll turn it around. Like, I don't want anything to do with a mirror. And
I
that
was
was,
gonna
and I'm
say.
41.
What the hell do you do at hotels and stuff?
Oh, if there's somebody
They're
with me,
everywhere.
then I'm okay. But if I'm by myself, oh no, I find a way to cover shit.
Yeah.
So it's really traumatizing. It scared me. It was, I can't explain it. I don't know what that was.
A lot of demons will like present themselves as a child or someone that's passed in your family to get to you too.
Well, there's also stories about doppelgangers, like that's like an omen, seeing yourself or something is like disguised, supposed to be you. It's like a bad omen, but also there are lots of there's a lot of folklore around mirrors, and having mirrors in your bedroom is not, like, a lot of cultures believe that it's a bad thing to have a mirror in your bedroom or where you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't sleep next to a mirror.
Yeah, your bed position matters too. After that happened a few weeks ago, I was looking at that, and actually our bed should not be facing the door. That's really bad.
Yeah.
I like
It's
to face the
something.
door just so I can see who's coming in.
Oh yeah, I agree. But it's something about like I can't remember what it was. It was something about like
Feng shui.
no, it wasn't feng shui. It was like a spiritual thing. Like you're not safe spiritually that way for some reason. I don't know.
Imagine all those people in the 70s that had their whole ceiling lined
Right.
with mirrors.
Right.
They're just, all the demons are up there watching them
Yeah.
have sex. Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
What are they doing
So,
today?
where, do you remember where that house was at?
Oh, yeah, my parents still live there. Stuff still happens to this day. Even though we're not there. I don't know if there's a portal there, but new shit happens even with us not there.
Where is it around?
It's near Settlement Canyon
Okay.
on Pioneer Avenue. It's, yeah, a lot of
So one of our
activity.
other guests, Colby Stitch, that was on here a couple weeks ago, he's lived in Tooele most of his, or all of his life actually, and it was saying he had a lot of stuff happen to him at a house like off 1000 North, like right off of Main Street or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just curious if it's the same area. Is that near the cemetery?
So, I actually lived near the cemetery after that.
Oh.
By the haunted hospital. I had some experiences in that house. But it was more scary at my parents'. Like, to this day, I will have dreams. I have very vivid dreams. I can, like, travel where I want. I can make things appear. I have, in my dreams, been in my room at night at that house.
Really?
And I will make myself wake up. Because it's just really traumatizing with all the stuff that happened there.
Yeah.
Was there a basement there?
Yes.
Was there a door that never got opened?
I don't know. I was told by a psychic that there is a spirit there who has marked himself there. When my brothers, when they were little, they used to cry and say they would see a mean man, and the mean man was yelling at them. Yeah, it goes on and on. I could go on for days about that house. So, I don't know, but I don't go to the, I mean, I haven't talked to my parents in a long time, but when I was talking to them, I would never go to that house alone.
Yeah.
And if they were leaving, I would leave. It was just too scary.
Did you ever have a shared experience in that house?
Yes.
Like with one of your siblings?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
So, my parents left to the store and we were playing hide and seek, and my older sister started screaming, and she said that something jumped on her and was growling. And then it was in the summer, my parents were at work one day, we were doing dishes in the kitchen, and we had the music up loud, and all of a sudden you just heard this crazy demonic growl. That was also captured on a cassette tape, which I cannot find. But my sister was recording my little brother and her, just like playing around, you know. And then like weeks later, she played it back and she's like, "Hey, Jessica, come here." So I went in and she played it. And while he's talking, you can hear something coming close to the speaker and running by. And it's like a demonic growl. Like, you know, the MGM logo with the lion?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. It's just like that. So I don't know if that's part of the mean man. I don't know. But, I mean, that was a shared experience for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, that house has a lot of issues.
Do your parents, have they had experiences also?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
My dad is not a believer, and my mom's the one who told us. So my dad was asleep. He would go to bed early, and downstairs my mom was doing my sister's hair, and she's like, Alicia, go upstairs and grab, this brush. So she went upstairs in their bedroom, and then she ran back down, and she's like, Mom, there's a lady in the bed with Dad. And she's like, what the hell? Like, what the
I'm
fuck,
gonna get that bitch.
So she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's a lady. She's like, there's lines up here on her cheeks, and she's really white, and she has big boobs like Aunt Doris. My aunt had really big boobs. And so she's like, what the hell? So she goes upstairs, and there's nothing there. And then one night, my dad told my mom, he woke up and he heard somebody walking in the hall. And he thought it was my little brother. So he's like, go back to bed. And then he opened his eyes, and this white mist came around the room and then went to my mom's side. And then he turned on the light, and it was gone. So my mom was talking to the neighbors across the street who have lived there forever. And they said, oh, that's Mrs. Allred. She died in the house of cancer. They said that she was so pale that you could see the veins in her face.
Oh.
And that she was well endowed with her breasts, and that she would walk around with slippers a lot. So that's what my dad heard, was the slippers.
Oh.
She was a good spirit. I actually saw her once. She would watch out for everyone. She was a nice spirit. I don't know who the me man is, but she was a good spirit, Mrs. Allred. She would do helpful things around the house. Now, my mom, she had a crazy experience, and it was a voice. So she was cleaning. My family was visiting from New Mexico. They were close by. They were probably going to be there in like a half hour. And the phone kept ringing. And a lot of telemarketers were calling, so she was ignoring the phone. And she was cleaning the kitchen, and she heard somebody say, answer the phone. And she was like, what the hell? And nobody was there. Another time, there was like some money missing. My dad wasn't very good with money, so my mom called his mom, my grandma. And she was on the phone, and she was like, Cleo, did he send you any money? Like, I just want to make sure, like, there's some money missing. And my grandma was like, no, he hasn't sent me any money. And then she said she heard a woman say, so what? So what if he is? So I don't know if that was Mrs. Allred, like, sticking up for my dad. I don't know.
Well, she liked to sleep with him.
Yeah, she did.
Maybe she was his lady.
None of them knew about it.
He liked those ghost jugs.
Yeah, he did. I don't know. So
It's like they don't have, a bounce like they should, but they're,
right,
they're cool to
They're a
look
little
at.
stiff.
right.
You know what? I was just thinking when she was saying the voices, I completely forgot about this experience. It was probably like a year and a half after we lived here. So our kids were really little. I think they were the twins were like 6 or something. But I remember laying in bed, and it was like 5 in the morning time, like really early. You were at work. You already worked at Hexel, so you were gone. Probably going to the gym or something. Who knows? But I remember like laying there with my. Neither one of you know what our room's like, but I sleep near the door.
How do you know?
Because he's a ninja. Oh yeah, I forgot. 'Cause he's a ninja. He hits me and stuff. So I was facing the window, so my back's against the door, and I felt like this little like touch on my shoulder, and then I heard this, "Mom." And I turned around thinking it was one of my girls, and nothing was there. So that was kind of weird. Forgot about that. But it sounded like a little kid, though. Like, Mom. You know when your kids come to you? And they're like,
Maybe it was the little spirit that was following us around in Hawaii
maybe.
when we got married.
Is this the baby we're having when I'm 47?
I guess.
That was the spirit of the cat. He morphed into like a full-size person ghost.
Okay, no shit. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but I swear to you there is an animal here, though. Izzy said this, too. Like,
That look was...
I don't know.
no, like, you'll be laying in our bed at night, and it feels like an animal, like a
Oh, yeah.
cat or something jumping on the bed and walking. And it was before we even had animals. Have you felt that a few
Yeah.
times?
We talked about that on one of our episodes.
Yeah.
So
I was laying there, and
too.
this was like a couple months ago, even. Laying there, you, like, the
It
kids
always
were at
happens.
school, you were at work, and I was on night shifts, and so it was like 9:30 in the morning. I was in bed. I had my sleep mask on and shit, my CPAP and everything, and So I like had a sleep mask that I wear during the day, or when I sleep during the day for graveyards. And I felt something jump up on the bed and then kind of crawl across the bed, and I thought for sure it was one of the, because they usually kitty or fish will come and lay next to me like as soon as I lay down.
But if I go to work, I close our doors so they don't fight
So
in the room and wake them up.
I was like reaching over there trying to find where they'd laid down at just to pet the cat, and so I like pulled my mask up, looked over there, nothing there, and so I was like, oh, that was fucking weird.
No, it happens all the time. Have I never said that to you?
I just forgot. But yeah.
It happens all the time, and when Iz has slept in our room when you're gone, she'll always be like, what the hell was that? It felt like an animal. I'm like, yeah, that animal's here all the time. That's normal. They come up almost every night and
Hustle.
jump in our bed. But why wouldn't Hustle go into our condo bed? That's what I want to know. I think this is somebody else's animal stuck here.
Maybe you have a pet cemetery back there.
Maybe.
Could be. That's why it's sloped like that.
That might be.
So you no longer
They
live
move
in
the
Tooele.
graves and not the bodies.
No, I live near Memory Grove in the Avenues downtown.
So do you have experiences there?
So the animal thing running on the bed, I had that happen. I feel like the building is cleansed. I have not experienced anything there except for the animal running on the bed, to where I have woken up feeling the vibration of something like, and their foot is right by my leg. As if they're running and their foot skips my leg and jumps.
Yeah.
I've had that happen where and it has woken me up. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, I don't have any animals. But that place, like, I feel like it's cleansed. I don't feel anything. I feel safe. I haven't had any experiences.
So being in the Avenues is like a pretty old older building.
My
That's
building
way
is
old.
104 years old.
It's cool.
And Memory Grove is said to have some paranormal shit.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful Victorian house just kitty corner across the street that people say is haunted. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel okay there.
Well, even that downtown area is just a wellspring of paranormal activity. I mean,
Right.
between like Rio Grande and that one mansion house downtown, then you have the Salt Lake Cemetery, and just a whole plethora of things that happen down there that people have reported and have seen.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and I work at the old LDS hospital in the sleep lab, which used to be the old ICU. Oh, I have shit happen. I have stories.
In the hospital?
Yes.
Oh, I bet.
I'm in good with those ghosts, though. I feel safe. I will stay there by myself. It's the ones in the middle of the night that the sleep techs talk about. There's definitely, like, sleep study, paranormal shit that I've told them you should do a podcast on that. Like, stuff that they have experienced, patients have experienced, they've watched patients. Like, I've heard crazy stories from the sleep techs.
Well, fortunately, you know of people who do a podcast who talk about stuff like
Right.
that.
Let's have a party.
Just
Right.
slide my card right over the table.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real. And they have the scarier experiences.
Did you work with, when we worked at the airport, did you work with, there was a married couple that worked at Vino with us. Her husband was a cook, and then she was a server with us. You may have replaced
I remember
her.
her.
I don't, maybe Ashley or Anne.
Was she a paramedic or going to school to be a paramedic?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, and you remember them, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she had inherited a building downtown near you, actually, and they were the managers of this. Like, they inherited it, so they ended up having to manage all these tenants that lived there and stuff. And because they had to do that, they moved into whoever she inherited, like, their apartment that they owned before. And she would always tell us crazy stuff about that, too, is like, a lot of the tenants didn't want to stay there because stuff was happening to them. And, God, what is his name? You know Ben, the bald Ben? He lived there in one of the units, and he would always come to work like all stressed and like looking tired. Like, he partied a lot, but not to the point to where you'd think it was from partying. Like, he didn't look like he'd been out all night some of the times when he'd come, and he would tell me about like stuff shaking him awake at night, and like stuff slamming doors in his apartment, and then like cabinets getting opened and slammed. Like,
Oh, he lived near me. I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about,
Bald
right?
Yes.
Ben.
Do you know
Everybody
that
knows Bald
there
Ben.
used to be... Okay, so my friend owns Cecilia Pizza Kitchen,
Mhm.
and they have old pictures of that area. She found a picture of where he lived, like right across from the temple,
Yeah, it's
where there
that's
were
where it is. Yeah.
tombstones.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Whoa.
It's
There
that
were
building.
tombstones, and there are no tombstones now.
No,
So
that's the building.
I know exactly what house you're
Yeah,
talking
they
about.
moved the
That's not far from me.
headstones
I
to
could
the
walk
bodies.
there
Yeah.
in 2 minutes.
No, I remember them
Poltergeist.
talking
Yeah.
about it frequently, and
And
Ben,
it was bad.
yeah, and Ben would be like, "You guys,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta cancel my lease. I can't live here. I gotta move. I can't do this anymore."
And his roommate had it worse.
And they would be fighting about it out in the concourse,
Mm-hmm.
like, because they wouldn't cancel his lease because they couldn't afford. for
Who
him
are
to
these
leave.
people, and how do we get in touch with them?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know because I haven't heard from them ever since.
I would not
That
want to go to
job.
that house. I know where that house is. It's like red and white, old school. It's right there off of North Temple, east of North Temple. I know exactly where it is.
I
I've
can't
heard
even.
stories.
Oh, her name's Mandy.
Yep.
Mandy and
So they
Like the Barry
inherited
Manilow
that
song.
house
Yeah.
right there.
they own that building.
That's nice.
She inherited the whole building,
Wow.
and so they run all of those. I don't know
Okay.
if what they did with it because this is what 10 years ago. But yeah, that was.
It's a nice
so we
area,
gotta get in
but
touch with Mandy
uh-huh.
And Bald Ben.
and Bald
And
Ben.
if he's still around, he's
I
kind
don't
of
think
wild.
I want to talk to Schnell. Calling you out, Ben Schnell.
He would come in with black eyes, and I would ask him, I'm like, "Are you in some part, like some kind of a fight
Well, you
club?"
can't talk about
Like
it.
every time I come in, like you look like you've been beaten up. So I
Okay.
thought he was in a fight club.
Oh, he was from
He was
like
getting beaten
England
up.
or some shit,
Yeah.
and that man would party.
He would.
And then like he would be so wasted all the time, like and just get in fights. He was like Jared
Yeah, he would get in
5.0.
fights.
I think if I lived with fucking
Ghost.
ghosts, I'd probably be drunk all the time too.
Yeah.
So, the sleep lab, you kind of touched on that with paranormal experiences related to sleep. Is that something you've experienced?
I feel like I have experienced most of my paranormal stuff with sleep for sure. It's always when I'm waking up or they wake me up. For instance, I had lived with my grandma, I want to say it was back in like 2012, just for a short period of time. And I remember I was dreaming that I was like in an apocalypse and I was with this group of people, like we were trying to stay safe. And then all of a sudden the lady told me, "Don't stay in your bed. Don't stay in your bed." And then I woke up. I was wide awake. I saw a black mass, just like you described. It's just imagine the blackest black you could ever see, and the edges are like flames. I caught it on the corner of my eye,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden I was knocked out. It felt like this huge pressure of air was being shot up my nose. You can't breathe, and it's almost like it's devious, like, how do I put it? It's like it's tricking you to a deep sleep. Like it feels almost comfortable, but it feels like it's not right.
Yeah.
And I just prayed in my head. I was like, "God, please help me, help me." And then all of a sudden it just stopped and it was gone. And I could hear my grandma in the living room with the TV on. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened? And I remember doing some research and they said that some spirits can enter you through your nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget that. Whatever it was not good. It was very bad.
Can I ask you something about this? Because I feel like for
Yeah.
me, this is very true. I've had a lot of these experiences while I'm sleeping. They always happen when I am working on the spiritual side of myself. Like when I start reading the Bible more, I start praying more. Like when I'm trying to like build a relationship with God that's stronger. Because I would consider myself, I'm not religious, but I'm a very spiritual person. But when I actually start like studying the Bible and things like that, that's when these things happen to me more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Spence has experienced this too. Is that true for you?
Well, yes, because in my grandma's house there are crosses everywhere.
Yeah, your grandma was very-
There
yeah.
are saints and everything is Jesus. Above me there was a crucifix that I had.
Yeah.
All kinds of very holy things, but my grandma isn't a very nice grandma, and there's like some bad things that happened when my mom grew up, like true crime shit.
Oh, sorry. This is
My mean grandma.
Okay. Not the one you're close to.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
The one I'm close to was a saint, and she's passed away.
Yeah, I was thinking of that one.
This was my mean grandma. I know it's sad to say I have a mean grandma, nice grandma, but anyways, she has done some very bad things. She's not passed, so I will not share what has been done because this is true crime shit. But I really feel in my gut and in my heart that whatever that is, it's there because of her. And yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I've experienced the black mass, sorry, and it's very scary.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. There's been Spence and I have had lots of experiences with the things in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
At our old condo, I don't know if you guys have talked about this on the podcast before, but in our old condo, it was like a tiny little place. It was a 2-story townhouse. When you walked up the stairs, there's a little landing, and then there's a bedroom, a bathroom in between the bedrooms, and then the second bedroom was on the front of the house. It was literally, the whole thing was bedroom on the front of the house, bedroom on the back of the house, bathroom in the middle. I experienced a lot of shit in that house. From day one. A ton of shit.
Also, this townhouse was like 21st East, 33rd South.
It was old. It was built in the 60s. I think it was 62. Was
condo, and it was like most of the people that lived in that condo complex were like older ladies that like were widows and like just in their last like 10 years of life. So probably
a lot of them lived there since they were built.
have lived in that house and probably died in that house. Like
yeah, lots. Sorry, honey. The experience I'm thinking of specifically did not happen to me. In fact, it would be really interesting to get him on here because I know since this he's had a lot more experiences. So my uncle lived with us. He's the same age as us. He was my roommate for years and years. It was me, Spence, and Caleb. And we had 2 cats at the time. They were kittens. Kittens don't tend to get aggressive and howl very often because they're little. They're playing. They're just little. They don't really do that. They were about, I want to say they were less than a year old. Oh shoot, was this Kitty and Bob or Kitty and Hustle?
Hustle.
It was Hustle, yes. Yeah. So they were less than a year old because Hustle got hit by a car at a year. So yeah, they were probably like 6 to 9 months old, little kittens. And you could hear them through the house doing their zoomies. And then you heard them come up into that landing in between the rooms and the bathroom. There's like a 9-foot space between all of it. You could hear them howling and just... You know how animals would like make that sound when something bad is there and they want to protect themselves? And I remember like peeking into the hallway and be like, guys, shut up. What are you doing? And they were both arched up and floofed up and like something and looking at the ceiling. And I couldn't see anything. I was like, that's weird. Well, Caleb's door was closed, so I didn't want to bother him. I'm like, that's weird. They're like really paying attention to his room right now. So anyway, I was like, they're just being dumb, and I went back to sleep. The next day, I went downstairs, and he was awake real early. He was somebody who would sleep till like 2 in the afternoon. Up all night, sleep all day. That was him. And I went down there in the morning. It was probably like 9 or something. Maybe not even that late. And he was wide awake, looking not... like he hadn't slept all night, like looking a little frazzled. And I was like, dude, what happened? And he was like, I didn't tell you guys, but I've been like studying the Bible and like trying to like learn about all of this. And last night something was sitting on my chest choking me. It's like something was attacking me. I thought I was going to die last night. And I was like, wait, what? And he goes, yeah, something was in my room. My whole room was black. It was sitting on top of me. And I was like, how did you get rid of it? I can't even remember what he told me. Did he talk to you about that? I can't remember what he said to get rid of it.
So he said that...
he didn't believe in any of this shit at all. Either. Which is an interesting tidbit.
I don't remember if he told me how he got rid of it, but he was able to get up and then he turned on the TV and like watched the BYU devotional channel.
Yeah,
for the
he
rest of the
didn't.
night.
So just
Fuck that, I'll take the
Yeah.
demon.
just a little back history is like our family was really LDS to the point where like they would push it on you so hard that you wanted nothing to do with it. And he didn't believe in anything. He didn't know if he believed in God. He didn't believe in anything really. So for this to happen to him while he was trying to learn that stuff is crazy. But I remember him saying, like, I didn't know how to get rid of it. I remember him saying that, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember how he's... Because I know that... so I was at work.
Like, he wouldn't sleep in his room for like a month.
You called me and said, hey, Caleb really wants to talk to you right now. And I was like, that's fucking weird, man. Okay, put him on the phone.
Yeah.
And then, so he got on the phone and told me the story, and I was like, well, yeah, I've experienced the same thing, and it's just something that happens. I was like, there is a thing that's called sleep paralysis, and, you know, people wake up and they feel paralyzed and they feel like they're getting choked, and has to do with when you're waking up. Kind of told him the same thing. It's like you're paralyzed from sleeping and your mind is awake but your body's asleep still, and then you're in between that state, and your mind is in a place where you can still experience dream-like visions, and your body is paralyzed from, you know, your brain not being active at the time. But I've had those things happen, and I know that it really feels like it's, you know, the feeling is there that there's something evil with you, and I tend to believe that it's something is there. And I was like, you know, there is a way to protect yourself, and I told him how to pray about it, and and I don't know if you ever did that, or, you know.
I'd love to know if it's happened to him again. I've never talked to him about it again.
Sounds like sleep paralysis to me, or he got a succubus and
No,
sat on
he
the wrong
was
part of his
scared.
body.
No.
Right. There are
He
the
was supposed
some,
to sit down here.
Yeah, the old
not up
hag.
here.
No, it was on his chest. I remember he was so...
So I've had those
He's not a
things-
very serious person. He was looking me in my face like scared. Like, Cara, this happened. Did anything happen to you? Like, and I'm like, nothing happened to me. Just the cats were being annoying.
So I've had both things happen where, like, I've woken up with sleep paralysis and I've seen the old hag, like, old lady sitting on my chest smiling at me, laughing that I couldn't breathe. And I've chalked that up to sleep paralysis in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also had situations where I've seen the black mass and it's jumped on top of me and choked me, and I've wrestled with it to the point where I fall out of bed and then run out of the room because... And there's a difference because there's... I mean, in the sleep paralysis episodes that I've had, it's scary. It's terrifying. Like, you don't know what the fuck is going on in the moment, and then as soon as you're out of it, you're kind of like... adrenaline is going, and you're kind of like shaken by it, but it kind of dissipates pretty quickly. But like the dark masses and entities that I've dealt with, the dark entities that I've seen and dealt with, there's a totally different there's a huge difference between the two.
Yeah.
I do believe that, like, a lot of those sleep paralysis things are probably have some dark energy with them that go along with them. But there is a lot more energy in a dark shadow that you see while you're awake, and it jumps on top of you and starts to choke you.
Yeah, can I was actually just thinking about something that happened to me after your dad passed. Do you mind me sharing that? Is
No.
that too? Okay. So I don't connect this to the house at all. That's why I didn't include that in things that have happened here in this house. But his dad passed away about 2 years ago, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on about that I can't really divulge, of course. But I had a weird experience, and as did the other sister-in-laws. Basically anyone in a relationship with his brothers. I don't know if our brother-in-law had anything, but I had this weird experience, and I thought it was just a dream at first, but I was sleeping, and I dreamt of his dad, and his dad was saying to me, please take care of him. I'm worried about him. Please take care of him. You know, take care of my grandkids. And he was like sincerely telling me, and he told me these same things all the time when he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always say, like, please take care of my son. Make sure he knows I'm with him. All these things. He would always tell me that all the time. So I knew it was him. It was like 2 days after he passed. I knew it was him. It was valid, like it was 100% him. And while he was speaking to me, in my dream, this big black mass flew in front of him, pushed him out of the way, like, and then he was just gone. And I had that choking thing happen, like I did a couple weeks ago in the middle of the night. And I woke up and I was choking out, and Spence had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and I could not breathe. I was like, I had to rip my stuff off my face, and I was like choking, like I could not breathe. The next day I got up and I had scratches along my neck.
Were they 3?
I don't remember, but I had scratches down my neck, and I remember I woke up the next day and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? Like all night long I couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, that's so disturbing. What was that?
Mm-hmm.
What was keeping him from talking to me? It was just weird. And then we drove out to Idaho to go be with family, and I called my dad, my stepdad, and I was like, hey, this happened. Look at my neck. Like, we were on a video call, and I'm like, look at this. It attacked me. Something attacked me. And he's like, put on your cross. Wear your cross. Like, just stay protected. Stay safe, you know. And I'm like, that was just so weird. Well, I'm talking to all of the other sister-in-laws, and all of them were like, something happened to me the other night, too. All of us. All 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Or Haley wasn't there. She's in New Zealand. But, like, all the girls that were there, all of them, something happened to them.
Weird.
Yeah, weird, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like something was trying to
Which is
prevent
really
us
weird.
from talking to
Also,
him.
is that same week, it was after we came back from Idaho, and I was getting ready to go back to work, and we were on night shifts, and so I was sleeping during the day, and I woke up like out of a dead sleep. Woke up because I heard a gunshot, like loud. It was like echoing in my room. Like I thought that somebody just fired a gun in the room or inside the house. So I like got up, took my shit off, and like went through the house like counting heads. Like,
No, I
Are you
remember
guys okay?
saying, "What's wrong?" He looked like he was about ready to guard us. Like,
Yeah.
and so I was like just making sure everybody was like, "Where's everybody?" And what? And I was like, "Did you guys hear anything?" No. What are you talking about? And so I was like, that was fucking weird.
no, he looked like sincerely
So I
like
went back to
something
sleep.
happened.
Like 2 weeks later, we went to my brother's house and just had like a dinner at my brother's house, and the whole family was there. And then 3 of my brothers, like I was like, yeah, something weird happened the other day, and like, dude, was that on Saturday? Yeah, like the same thing happened to me. I
Wow.
heard a gunshot and had to go check the house and see what was going on, because just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's such a weird parallel.
So yeah, well, I wanted to bring that up because a lot of us we were supposed to be talking about ghosts, but a lot of us have had like loved ones try to come to us, and those spirits will keep them from coming to us.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I kind of wonder if like someone that's passed is trying to communicate with us, and then those bad things come and block them. Because that definitely was very true in that case
Yeah.
when he was trying to communicate with me.
I think that has more to do with his wife.
I
I do too.
Exactly.
No, I do too.
100%.
I do
That
too.
it was the entity around her that's trying to block him from sending you messages.
Yeah,
and
but we
protect
can't
you.
talk about that right now because we're in the middle of cases.
Oh, okay.
There's court
let's-
active court
we need to
cases that-
stop.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly. But it was just an interesting thing that I was thinking of, like how some of us are really receptive to spirits. I think I definitely am. I have all kinds of weird shit happen to me all the time that I don't ever talk about, because I feel like if something's coming to you, it's not always meant to be talked about. Sometimes you're just supposed to be a vehicle for something, you know? So I think us women are more receptive to that because we're more in tune with like caregiving and just like that whole
Well, I think
other
that
side of us. Like,
I think that it has a lot to do with a woman's connection with emotions, and the energies that surround emotions are a lot deeper in most women as opposed to men who like kind of are guarded most of the time.
Well, and women are capable of so much more empathy than men.
Right.
And it's an easily
I can
attackable
walk
thing.
into a room and feel I know how someone's feeling immediately.
So yeah, I mean,
I think I
used to-
drive him nuts.
I used to feel
You're
that
not
too,
okay.
and
I'm fine. No, you're
Come
not.
home and like you walk in the house, like I'd walk in the house from like junior high school, walk home and like walk into the house and just like grab a broom and start sweeping. Like my mom would come down all pissed off. Oh, hey mom,
Yeah.
I'm just sweeping.
I'm on top of it.
Yeah.
Right.
How was your day?
I think
Shut
we
the
all,
fuck up.
we can all feel it when you walk into a room and the air is just fucking thick.
Yeah.
Without even having spoken to anybody. You can just intrinsically
That's
know.
a whole nother trauma response, though. We need to dive into somewhere else.
Now when you're trying to play Jenga and the air is just thick with tension.
Big tension.
Fucking Spencer.
Dave, we love you. We're never gonna let it go. We played
It's fine.
Jenga at I's house with her.
Oh, my.
Anyway, back
Okay.
to the ghosts. Did you have any ghost experiences at the airport? Jessica and I worked at the airport forever.
You know, if I did, I don't remember. When you brought up that somebody saw a man standing across from our restaurant,
I swear
I
that was you.
remember that, but I remember somebody else seeing that.
But do you remember being told about it or something? I thought it was you. I don't know who
Somebody
it was.
said something. It wasn't my experience.
So Dre doesn't believe. If it was Dre, she doesn't believe in any
Was
of
it
that shit.
Jocelyn? Was it
No,
Johnny?
I don't talk to them, so I thought it was you.
Or I don't remember.
I don't know. I wasn't tight with anybody but you. You're the coolest.
Yeah, and then we worked opposite shifts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I really never got to work with you. I was stuck with the craziness at night.
So I had a few experiences. So I worked, just to give everyone an idea of what's happening here. I worked at the airport for, from like 2006 until 2020. So I was there for a long time at Salt Lake International Airport. During that time when I worked there was lots of construction, lots of remodeling. That tends to stir things up. I also had heard about lots of suicides at the airport, like within the parking garages, within the employee parking lodges, or parking garages. There's no garage, parking area. And then someone had jumped off of the air control tower at one point and committed suicide. It was always like airline employees. It would happen a lot. There was a couple people that had shot themselves in the employee lot while I worked there. Just lots of weird deaths there. And then one day I was bartending at Wasatch Bar, and California Pizza Kitchen was connected. And I kid you not, this man ate his lunch at California Pizza Kitchen, had a heart attack in the middle of his lunch, and fell to the ground and died right there in the restaurant. 20 feet away from me. And that was crazy.
Wow.
I know there's times I've eaten at California Pizza Kitchen and I wished I'd have a heart attack. That food is terrible.
Well, they went bankrupt.
Yeah,
so
they're gone.
They're gone.
Really?
They did.
But there were so many things that would happen there all the time. Like, and then it's very common too, if someone has like a heart problem, to go on a flight is really dangerous. When you go up and change altitudes like that and then come back down, it does something to your heart. So you're very susceptible to like a heart attack if you already have heart problems. So anyway, there's probably been lots of people that have croaked there. Well, I used to work at that bar, and I would always be the closer at Wasatch, and unfortunately Derek is no longer with us. He passed away, but he's had these experiences too. One of my close friends. Rest in peace, buddy. Love you. But we would have to stay, like if there was a delayed flight, we would normally close at 9, but if there was a delayed flight, we had to stay until that flight went out. We had to stop serving alcohol at midnight per Utah law for the airport. But we would stay open until 1 to feed people, just so they had food and whatnot. And I remember one night we had to stay, and it was like 12:20. I had finished cleaning the bar, like I was about to go lock up. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go use the bathroom real quick before I leave. So I left all my stuff in the bar, and the restroom was right across the hall from my bar. And I went out of the little restaurant, and I closed the metal gate, and I ran across, used the bathroom, and there was like, along one wall, there was like 20 sinks all on the same wall in a row. And they had those little sensors that you put your hand on to like make the water come on. And I went to the bathroom, and a couple stalls down from me, like the toilet went off. I'm like, oh, that's weird. No one's in here. It's just me. Because my managers were doing our cash. Like they were getting all of our tills squared away, and so they weren't in there. They were working still. And I go all the way to the last sink closest to the door. There's probably 20 sinks. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like fixing my hair, and then I'm like, you know, checking myself out, fixing my hair and all that. And I start washing my hands, and I like pulled my hands away for whatever reason to like clean my nails out or something. And I start hearing water running, and I look down, and it's the very last sink at the end of the row. That one goes off, shuts off. Next one, on, shuts off.
Goodness.
Next one, on, shuts off. And it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going to happen? So I stay there because I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I'd be fucking out.
No, I'd be like, show me your secret, because I can't get those fucking sinks
No.
to work at all.
Right.
It was crazy.
But the ghosts can.
It literally, every single sink, I have the chills. It
Yeah.
freaked me out. Every
Oh
single
my.
sink, what? I always get the chills. I'm so stupid. Every single sink went off, and then let it get to like the fourth one to me, and then I was like, fuck this, and I ran across the hall, and I'm like, ah! There's something in the bathroom. And I run back, and our manager was like, what the hell is wrong with you? She was a Russian lady. She goes, you're so stupid. I'm like,
You
"There's
go in there.
something in the
You
bathroom.
take care of it.
And then we're on the bus later, and she goes, there is something in that bathroom. I've seen it. And I'm like, why are you calling me stupid?
Oh my.
She's like Baba Yaga.
For some reason, I know, what's her name?
Anissa.
I've met her before, but
I
every
love
time
her.
you talk about her,
I love her.
I envision that Russian lady from Orange is the New Black.
Oh, yeah.
Red, big red.
Yeah.
No, I love her. But on the bus, she waits to tell me to on the bus. I've seen it in there too. Why'd you call me stupid? And she's like, I don't know.
Because you're
She's like, it was unrelated to that.
She probably was scared, knew you were correct, and was like, I'm going to brush this over.
Oh, do you know how fast we got out of there after that?
Oh, hell yeah.
It was like she knew, but she didn't want to tell me until we got on the bus. And so that was the weirdest thing there. But then when we worked at Gordon and Biersch, how do I explain this? So our bar was like this big oval shape, and it was in the middle of the restaurant, and then there were like stairs that went up to a platform where there were tables and booths and stuff up there, and then like there were hallways to like offices and some bathrooms and stuff. And then if you went to the right out of the, like there was a place to go out of the bar. If you went to that part, it would go up some stairs and then straight to the kitchen, but you could see into the kitchen anywhere in the restaurant. So one night I think you might have been there that night, and I sent you
That's crazy
home.
because I don't remember any feelings there.
No,
It was
you were
just so
gone when
busy.
it happened.
Oh, okay.
So I think you and I were closing, but I was a closer. So you left at like 8 or 9, and then I had to stay for that late 1:50 flight.
Mm-hmm.
So you left, and it was me and who was managing that night? John or something. I don't know. I don't fucking remember.
Or Todd.
Oh, it might have been Todd.
Todd,
No, it was Todd.
Yeah,
he had
Todd.
His fucking wheelie.
He always stayed late. He
I
was
remember
cool.
he broke
I
his
love
leg
Todd.
and he had a stupid
He was
scooter.
the best guy.
That's a
Todd.
first, a cool guy named Todd.
He was. He really was a cool
I
guy.
fucking miss Todd.
Very nice, very funny. He was a great guy.
Poor fucker broke his leg. He had to scoot around
yeah,
all
his
over.
scooter.
See him coming down the ramp to come to the bar. Anyway, I remember it like him being like, hey, Cara, I gotta go down to the concourse and I've gotta go handle something. I'll be right back. Like, settle up all your cash, clean everything up. We'll come lock everything up in a minute. So he left the restaurant. It was just me in there. The kitchen had gone home because they would leave before me most of the time. And I'm sitting there, like, getting all my cash settled. And I had set all of the bar stools up so the seat was on the bar counter and then the legs are sticking up. So there's 30 chairs, like, standing like that on the bar so the restaurant could be cleaned. And I'm sitting at the end of the bar near the kitchen, and I'm just getting my tills ready, you know, squaring up for the night, because we handled all the cash for the whole day. So I'm sitting there counting everything out, and I hear this weird noise from the kitchen, and all of a sudden I look over, and one of the pans from the rack just, like, flew off and fell. And I'm like, oh, hell no, what the hell? Like, it, like, went flying over towards the drink stations. Like, the line was here, and then, like, 6 feet away from it, there's the drink stations where the servers would grab their drinks. And they would hang their pots there. Do you remember that? Up in the ceiling? It flew off and, like, hit the tile and went flying. I don't even know why I looked over there at that moment. It was weird.
Probably because there was a pan flying through midair.
Yeah.
But I saw it, like, leave the hook, and it went. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, fuck, that's weird. I'm going to ignore it. And I keep counting, and I'm kind of like, what else is going to happen? And I'm, like, counting it. And then I look over, and the last stool that's closest to me, I had about this much space, about 6 feet of space. Sitting there counting the till, and I look over, and it's that tipping thing again. It looked like something grabbed it and just laid it on the counter, left it there, and went away. And the stool was sitting there, like, next to me, laid down perfectly softly, like, softly, onto the thing. I told you about this.
Okay, I'm thinking of something that happened now.
I'm like, what the
You're
fuck?
saying-
Like, Todd, where the fuck are you?
This happened during the
He's
day.
wheeling around somewhere.
He was.
He's doing some extreme shit down in the concourse.
He came back and he goes, why'd you lay the chair like that? I'm like, dude, I did it. And he goes, are you okay? And I'm like, I didn't put it like that.
Pull the cameras,
And
Todd.
I go, look at that pan over there. Something through it.
Yeah, now you've reminded me of 2 situations that happened during the day.
There? At that
We
at
had
carebear?
customers, yes.
Oh.
I remember a customer had a beer, and the glass just tipped over by itself. Beer went everywhere. The other time that
Party
was
foul.
crazy, he was sitting there, his hand was just on his beer like this. The whole glass just shattered.
I
and
was
beer-
there.
Yes. I was, he was
We
just
were
sitting
working
there
in the
like this, and all of a
morning.
sudden it just completely shattered. Beer everywhere, and he's just like,
No, we were working in the morning.
I
remember.
can't explain that. I cannot explain what happened. That was weird.
Did
Well, I
Does this get
asked
washed?
you. I asked
No.
her that. I said, was
No,
that glass
it was
hot before
it was
you
a
peeled it?
slow day. It was slow. It was like on a Saturday afternoon because we had the rushes in the morning and at night. It was slow. Nothing was recently washed. Like, it was a slow day, and that glass just exploded with him sitting there at the bar.
I don't
I'm pretty
know.
sure I was there
I've
with
seen
you.
videos like that, like on Slap
Yeah.
Cam,
Like,
where
what is
people
that?
literally just have their hand on a glass and it just fucking pops.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And that can happen if it's hot and then you put
Yeah.
something
No,
cold in it.
no,
But
we didn't do that. We did not put hot glasses with drinks.
Cold beer
like,
and hot glasses.
Yeah.
well, and we had
like
those
we would have done
chillers,
that.
too.
Like, maybe a guy would have done that, but we wouldn't have.
Well, we had those chillers that we, like, chilled them with, too, and then we would sit them on the shelves.
Yeah,
and
it
let 'em
wasn't a
cool
busy
down.
day. Those glasses had been sitting at room temperature for hours.
So I kind of wonder, like, there's a lot of paranormal stories that happen around, like, bars and, like, drinking and stuff like that. So I wonder if it is just, like, spirits that kind of miss having
That's
a
why
beer.
they're called that.
Spirits.
Spirits.
Yes.
Beer and spirits.
They want to feel that
We just put
feeling
that
of
together.
being drunk that they
Yeah.
can't feel, so they want to get inside while you're drunk.
Huh.
I watched
Well,
this
you're more
documentary.
susceptible to be possessed while under the influence of anything.
Yeah, that's why we're going to do a paranormal show called Paraphernalia.
Oh, okay.
Are we?
One person,
Oh, are
we're
we
doing
doing
ghost hunting. So there's a team of ghost hunters. One person is drunk, one person is like smoking weed, one person is on mushrooms,
Okay.
one person is like on acid or something.
That would be the scariest.
Okay, well,
Don't
can I
leave
be
me
the
for
shrink
that.
girl?
Leave me on
You're
acid.
I always see
Open.
shit when
Then
I
you
do
have like
anything.
handlers, so you have to have like 8 people. So there's another person with these people, and just to see if like whatever substance you're under changes the brain frequency enough that you're able to see or experience or like interact with beings from other dimensions.
And Dream Gig that we've talked about, doing mushrooms on Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
Brandon Fugel, if you're listening, hook us up, dude.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Oh my, that's really risky.
Yeah.
I would.
Peyote. We'll keep it now. We'll keep it in the vein of Native Americans.
Yeah, if they want to hook us up with a shaman and do the whole ceremony, I'm in.
I would do that too.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said for being under the influence is like frequency-wise is similar to limerence of being in between awake and asleep, to where you are more open to more frequency. You know, you have
Your
much higher
bandwidth is-
bandwidth. Yeah.
But not
See,
with
we were on the
alcohol.
same page. I was just about to spit that word out.
I think
and you beat me to
alcohol is
it.
the only substance that I don't feel like that's true for.
I don't know. I feel like it's true for me. I think
Yeah.
anything that alters your own frequency is going to get you there.
Like in my experience, if I like with marijuana, anything, or like the one time I did shrooms, like I don't have a lot of experience with it, but those things always open me up more. But like with alcohol, I don't experience anything.
I think with alcohol, it's less about mind altering and mind opening, because your borders and barriers are gone. Your inhibitions are gone when you've been drinking. So it's like it's not as much about reaching out as much as it is letting things in.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion,
Yeah.
because you think about you go out and party or whatever, and you
You
drink
do
too
lose
much,
your
and
sense
then,
of protecting yourself for
yeah,
sure.
you do. But
Yeah,
you,
your inhibitions are.
you drink too
out
much,
the
and then you
window.
think about the dreams you have that night versus what you would normally have when you didn't drink. Totally different.
Well, we
Different
also
scheme.
see a lot of stories about people that get like shit-faced drunk and like like murder their whole family or something. They're
Yeah.
just, did they get to the point where they just allowed something to get in and take over?
And who knows?
Possibly.
Blackout stage.
I mean,
You're
that's-
on demon time, is what they call it.
Yeah.
That's what that whole the last Conjuring movie that they made, the
The devil,
Devil
made me do it.
was like he killed that guy that was like
His boss, basically,
yeah,
or whatever.
but
Her
they were all
boss.
drinking and
Yeah.
stuff like
No,
that.
I'm 100%. That guy was just a drunk.
Yeah.
And by all accounts of other people, like, he was a drunk, he was abusive, he did all these things. I think he just finally snapped. So, everything else they put into that movie was because movies got a movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
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 Plus, if Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved, it's probably horseshit.
I feel so sad. I have mixed feelings about them.
She
I love
loves
their
them.
museum, but
Have you been
I'm like, huh?
Have you been there?
No,
Oh.
I hear it's not even open to the public. You have to know people to go and see it.
Mm.
I've always worried who's going to take care of it and make sure people don't go in there and fuck shit up, because there's a lot of stuff in there that needs to be locked up.
So I heard that after Lorraine passed away, now their son is in charge of it, and he actually
I watch his YouTube
lets
videos.
people come in every once in a while.
Yeah. I don't think I would like to go in there, to be honest.
But I don't think so either. I've thought about maybe
Me neither.
going to the Zach Bagans Museum, but like
My
even
friends,
that is like
Speaking of that, did you just watch the surveillance camera that he posted on July 15th?
no,
It sounds like fucking Jurassic Park in there.
really.
Could there be, speaking of paranormal, can there be dinosaur ghosts? It sounds like fucking dinosaurs.
mean, There's cat ghosts.
So he's
and
in
dog
California.
ghosts.
He's not there. Something alerts the camera. You should watch it. It sounds like fucking Jurassic Park. Like dinosaurs running around the museum, screeching and screaming. Like, maybe it's demonic, but it sounds like a fucking dinosaur. Like, listen for yourselves. It was horrifying. Like, horrors.
That's funny. This kid. So the whole reason why this podcast came about is that Dave and I were in the same building on the same line, and our other friend Chewy, and like all day long, every single day, we talk about like ghosts and haunted shit, aliens, like what our thoughts on 12 hours a day, just like having these conversations. Like, dude, we should just like record these conversations. So like all the people that we work with, we always, that's what we do, is we just like, we're just kind of walking around doing our shit and just kind of talking about dumb shit. It always, most of the time it leads into some like wild like theories about like what we think about like, you know, where your thoughts come from, or aliens or ghosts or whatever. And anyways, this guy that I work with, Stitch, he was just on like 2 weeks ago. He was just the other day, it was like last Thursday, we were at work, and he was like, you know, all these old places that are haunted and stuff, how come you never find like dinosaur ghosts? You know, that's funny that you just said that.
You need to listen to this. It sounds like the scene where the raptors come out and they're like, "Wah!" Pound, pound, just going off. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it reminds me of Jurassic Park. You have to watch it for yourselves.
Some crackheads broke
I'm
in
like,
and
if
started
demons
doing
sound like
some butt
dinosaurs,
stuff
that's
in the
fucking crazy.
museum.
Yes, but you have to listen to it. I was like, this is the best ever. You should listen to it. It's so good.
So I want to share this story that happened at our condo when Spence was in Canada one time. I swear he thought I was crazy for like a hot minute. At the condo that we lived in before this, you've been there before, the older one.
Mm-hmm.
I would always have these weird things happen. But I remember he went to Canada for a work convention at the time, and our twins were just babies. They weren't in an enclosed crib anymore, so they could get in and out of their beds if they wanted. And so I honestly thought this was them, of why this happened. So I like had bathed all three of our kids and got everybody to bed, and everyone was asleep in the room. And I went downstairs and I got a glass of wine. I hadn't had a drop of it yet, so I know that wasn't the problem. And I was like laying in my bed reading a book, and they all had these little bath toys that we would just play with while I was bathing them to keep them entertained. And every time I would drain the water, I would like squeeze them out and throw them in the sink right across from the tub just to dry them out, and so we wouldn't trip on them. That was the only shower. I'd throw them up in there, let them dry out. So I did that like I always did, and I got everybody to bed. I'm laying in bed reading my book, and I hear one by one what sounds like those little rubber toys getting thrown back into the bathtub. And I'm yelling at the kids. I'm like, you guys, go to bed. What are you doing? Knock it off. And I keep hearing it. And I'm like, these little shits. So I get up and I walk in and I peek in. No one's in the bathroom. I'm like, that's weird. I didn't go in there. Walk into the kids' room just across the hall. They're all dead asleep, like snoring, drooling, dead asleep. What the hell? And I hear it again 3 more times while I'm looking at my kids sleeping. Like, what the freaking hell? And I walk into the bathroom and all the toys that I had left in the sink were in the bathtub.
Well, they wanted them in the bathtub.
And I'm like,
Ghosts gotta have baths too.
I'm like,
toys.
yeah.
What the fuck? I got all my shit
like,
and
I need
laid
to wash these off.
Yeah, they're like, we want to play. Turn on the bath water.
Yeah, I got all my shit and like went in the kids' room for a minute and like sat there because I was kind of freaked out. And I'm like, well, the kids can't save me. What am I gonna do now? I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna go lay down. So I went and lay down and read my book and had my wine. But it was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what the time frame is here from when this happened, but I was packing them all up to go somewhere, and I loaded all the kids in the car, and then I had forgotten my purse, so I ran back into the house to get it. And we had wood floors that we had installed, and there was like at the end of on the other side of the house, there was a front door, and then the coat closet was there, and we had like games and stuff stacked up on the shelf in there. And I ran in and grabbed my purse off of the kitchen table, which was in the living room. And I saw the stuff on that shelf in the coat closet just fall down. And then I heard like running across the floor, like something was running towards me. It scared the freaking shit out of me. And I like ran out. I locked the door and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not coming home. What the hell is that? And I told him about it and he's like, you're tripping. I'm like, no. Something was running across the floor.
Ghost wanted to play Connect 4. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Ghost wanted to
Anyway.
slap some bones.
Those are my ghost stories from the condo.
Wow.
I bet I could get 5 houses before you. I don't know. So, kind of going back to that thing with the bar and why bars tend to be haunted. And Michelle at work, she's got some great stories from one of the bars in Magna of like putting
I
the
bet.
chairs up
I
and then
bet.
them like leaving the room and coming back and all the stools and everything are down.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same thing with bars as it is with games like that. It's if there is a spirit or entity, whatever it is, it wants to kind of relive those moments from its life
that's
where
fun. Yeah.
the spirits of kids want to play games, or spirits of these old timers that spent however many nights in these bars just hanging out and drinking and having a good time. They want
Right.
Old ladies
wanna
want to
relive
play
them.
bridge.
yeah, or lay in bed next to another dude. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I saw what you did there. I wasn't gonna let that go.
Oh my.
Those jokes are just gonna last forever.
Oh yeah, they are. Good times.
One day we're gonna tell those stories on an episode, but not for a while.
Yeah.
If
We'll
y'all
let that
had
simmer
video
for
right now.
quite a while. So, kind of veering off of paranormal stuff, you lived out here your whole life, or for a large part of your life. One of the episodes that we did was on Dugway,
Okay.
and I don't know if you're familiar with all of the lore around Dugway and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted just to touch on, like, if you've ever seen any kind of, like, UFOs,
Yep.
UAPs, stuff like that.
So this would have been 2007. I was with my ex at the time, and we were in Vegas, and his uncle's wife passed away. So we had to come back in a hurry for the funeral. So it was past 2 a.m. We were driving by Dugway. And to the right of me, I remember seeing, it looked like a big long pole of like electricity just going bzzz, bzzz. And the further we got down the road, it followed us. And I soon realized that wasn't part of the field. That wasn't part of anything. It was following us, and it was like this big like zapping light. And it followed us for quite some time, and then it just went away. So that was weird to me. I've
Yeah.
never experienced anything like that. And we were driving right by Dugway. We were going the back way home from Vegas. It's faster. It was at the time back then to go, through there
Yeah.
to get home to Twila. So that was weird to me. I
Yeah.
thought that was bizarre. And my ex didn't believe in any of that shit, and he was weirded out too. So I remember seeing that.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on Dugway and how it's believed to be like Area 52 now, where they like do some weird shit out there.
Well, I mean, when I was a teenager, so my dad's retired with the Army, so I have a military card to get on the base. And I remember we went and stayed at a girl's house in Dugway, and you can only go like 10 miles per hour. You had to stop at a gate and talk to the guards. We had a ton of alcohol in the trunk. They never even checked that. But I remember I showed them my ID, so I think they were more at ease. But like we went and stayed on on Dugway grounds, like where the housing was. It was very weird. It was very weird. I don't know. I never went back. That was an experience. Like
Weird
10
how-
mile per hour
elaborate.
driving, just like nobody walking around. Every house is the same. Just very strange.
Truman Showy?
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
What were the houses like?
Just all the same, just like one level
Cookie
houses.
cutter.
Like you walk in, there's a living room, there's a kitchen, and there's 2 bedrooms. And that's it.
No
And every
basement?
house was the same.
No basement.
I don't remember a basement in that house. I never went to the basement if they had one.
So that was the thing we kind of theorized with talking to Colby was, I think he said it was at his grandma's house or something. In the basement there was a door that never got opened. And
that's
like they opened it or something.
Oh,
I'm
not
trying
a
to
good
recall the
idea.
story, but he believed it would like led to a tunnel system, and that wasn't the first time he had seen a house in Tooele, or in Tooele County or whatever it is, that had a similar situation down there. So we kind of speculated on what was down there, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so if I remember right, he was kind of speculating, and his grandma had also kind of inferred to him that like it was a tunnel system that kind of connected a lot of the older buildings in that area. Just because like Tooele Army Depot, you know how they detonate all the old munitions and stuff like that. If there was a chemical leak, it was like a underground tunnel system for the people that lived in that area. It was like a fallout shelter system in that area.
I'm sure there are some. I've never seen them.
Well, there's got to be with
There
all
has
the
to be.
alarms that go on all the time here.
Oh, yeah, that was a normal thing every Wednesday at whatever time it was.
But there's got to be an escape. Like, there has to be these tunnels and stuff.
No, they just like, this is a warning. You're all about to fucking die.
Yeah, we just ignored that. It was a test. It's like, this is a test and only a test. Woo! But we would, in the summer, we would be playing and the houses would shake.
Isn't it funny? I don't even notice that anymore because we lived here long enough that I literally don't even notice
it used to be
off.
bad. Like, I'd be at my friend's house and all the pictures would fly off the wall. That's
I don't
how bad
even, like,
it
we
was.
hear it, but
you
I
just
phase
got
it out
used
now.
to it.
Yeah.
It was a thing. And then the movie The Stand came out and they filmed near the chemical depot and it was all about that. And I was like, oh shit. Anyway, it didn't happen.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you
I
watch
didn't
The
either.
Stand, they film it in Tooele. There's houses in Tooele where they filmed it out.
The
And
only,
Magna in Salt Lake, right off the freeway. Oh, yeah, Vegas.
Interesting.
The only
yeah.
movie that I recognize Tooele from is Gentlemen Broncos.
I don't know what that movie is.
She'll love that movie.
I would? Okay.
We're watching that together, sister.
Yeah, I was in elementary school, I want to say 4th grade, when they came out and filmed at the haunted hospital. And yeah, my parents actually bought the house where the old, what's her name? The old mama something, where that cornfield is. I swear they bought that house recently,
Really?
where that was filmed. So
Interesting.
it's pretty cool.
You ever talk to Lashley?
No.
Get the champagne before it explodes.
So, not only did he tell me this story, but he showed me the video because he lived in Tooele. But like the air raid sirens are going off, and I watched this video firsthand, so it's not like a speculation. But you see this big cloud, and it's a very sunny day, but this big, massive cloud is like moving, and there's all these like black helicopters kind of
I've
escorting
seen
it.
those.
But it's just so weird because it's not overcast at all. It's just a perfectly normal sunny day. This gigantic cloud, I'm talking miles in diameter, is just moving, and all these helicopters are like escorting it.
It's a UFO disguising in a cloud.
It's something or other, whether it's a legitimate alien spacecraft or a reproduction vehicle or whatever. But it's just like, I'm watching this video in awe. Like, you saw this personally, like you literally filmed this. I was just like, why can't I see shit like that?
You can see it. I remember my sister and I walking around the block back to our house. We came from a friend's house, and I remember it was like 5 p.m. on a summer day, so it's still light outside. And I remember it getting really dark, and we looked up, and there was an aircraft that came close to where our whole neighborhood went dark. We were on the ground looking up, and there was like a ladder, and it just passed by. We saw weird stuff all the time living near there. All the time. We didn't question it.
So let me ask you, do you believe in ley lines?
What are ley lines?
So there are these weird intersecting lines on maps, and I can't remember like the origin of it, but it's believed that where ley lines cross, there's massive hot spots of activity. But when
Like portals, kind of?
kind of like that, a little more ambiguous because it's not just paranormal, spiritual. Sometimes
It has
it's UFOs.
a lot to do with like the electromagnetic.
Yeah.
Like at
Earth's-
Skinwalker Ranch,
yeah.
when they talk about the electromagnetic.
Yeah. So the Earth's electromagnetic field, there's certain lines across the whole globe that are just have a higher frequency of
I believe in
energy.
that, for
And
sure.
so this area, Salt Lake, kind of in between Salt Lake and Tooele, is where like a bunch of different ley lines intersect. Skinwalker Ranch is also one of those places that a bunch of those ley lines intersect. But like Stonehenge, it's like
That's an intersect point.
Intersect point. The pyramids is an intersect point.
Yeah, as if they knew. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So they placed those monuments.
So either
there.
they're putting monuments there, or they're putting monuments where they had witnessed portals or witnessed things happening, and so they kind of knew that those places were special places, and so they built these structures to kind of mark those areas. Or
I believe it.
And then the nearest one, if you look at a map, is that highway right there through Main Street in Tooele.
yeah,
Are you talking about SR 36?
yeah.
Or are you talking about what's the other?
112.
The one that's going through Urda.
No,
Where
it's the one when you come
Drew
off the
Drew Bay?
201.
Drew Bay. It's not Drew Bay.
Or
I'll
wherever
tell
it
you
is.
something about 201. Growing up, I have watched a lot of people that I grew up with in high school die in accidents on that road. I personally do not drive on that road. I take I-80 every time. I don't care how much closer it gets me. That road is cursed. I just, and then Drewby Road too. I've known too many people who've had fatalities in vehicles and who've gotten into car accidents. 201 to me is haunted. It's cursed. I don't drive on that road.
Yeah,
I won't do it.
I've seen about a million accidents there.
I bet you have.
But yeah, it's that highway.
Yep. That would
that
explain the
goes
activity
straight
and why
down there.
so many people have had. I mean, I don't take that route.
So Dave, that's where I remember a few weeks ago when I was telling you that I was driving on 201 and saw that thing fly by my face and my
Yeah.
hair blew back.
Yeah,
That's-
because you know what? It wants you to wreck just like everybody else. So don't take that route.
well, that's where I was. So I was, like I think it's 80. It was 9,000 west. I was, when you come past Kennecott and you're coming down the hill.
Mhm.
All of my windows were up. AC was off because it was like springtime, or I don't know. It wasn't. I didn't have any venting on. I didn't need it. And my hair blew back, and I saw this big black mass fly past my face before I felt my hair move. And I have seen lots of dead people there too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that was
Don't go
weird.
on that
Something was
road.
there.
Don't go on that road.
It was weird.
It's not good. I just choose not to.
So I'm curious about, you brought this up earlier.
Yes.
Going on ghost hunts or paranormal
Yes.
investigation. Have you experienced anything
Yes.
doing that? Oh, I gotta hear.
Okay, so my friends and I went and did the Fear Factory overnight tour. And it was in the month of April a few years back, and it was cold. So we dressed very warm in layers. And we met in a common place. There were like, I think 30 of us that signed up. And the people who were doing the tour went over the history. And then they're like, okay, go ahead and like go around the property. Just be careful because there was a lot of construction. I mean, it was pretty dangerous. Nails everywhere, and they're like, just feel free to go around. Like, because they took us around and showed us different areas and gave us the history. So anyway, we go to one of the spots. There's a staircase, and there's a guy named George that they kept talking about. So I had the meter where it goes from like green to red.
EMF detector?
Yes. And I'm walking, and all of a sudden it just goes to red, and nobody else's goes. And then my friends are like, we should stay here. So we stay, and everybody leaves. And she filmed it. And you could see these orbs flying. And then she had, I don't know what they're called. They're like the two metal rods.
Dowsing rods?
Yes. She had those. And she's like, George, where are you? And it went right to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt something behind me, and I said, George, you can stay here, but please don't stand behind me. And then all of a sudden the rods moved, and he was like right next to me. It was pretty crazy. And then we went up the staircase, and we sat there, and it was dark, and it was quiet for a while. And then I'm like, okay, let's go. And then all of a sudden everything went crazy. And I was like, do you want us to leave? And, red for yes, green for no, and it just went to green.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I think he likes me, you know. So that happened, but the flashlight thing is real. Okay, I've watched all these paranormal shows, the flashlight going on and off, whatever. No, it's real. So they had the flashlight next to us, and we were asking questions, and it was turning on and off all by itself. Like, I yelped. I was like just so shocked, like, oh my gosh, this is so real. So that was pretty cool. And then we got to a spot where the clowns are, and they said a little girl was at. I can't remember her name. I want to say Sally, but I could be wrong. And when we were about to go in, there was a girl on the ground with her friends, and she was hurt and crying, and she said that she went in and fell and hurt her ankle. So we go in. I'm on my face before I know it. I'm flat on my face. I don't know what has happened. Something's pushed me. I get up, and then the next day when I check, I mean, I had thermals, I had leggings and jeans on because it was really cold. I took them off. I had scabs on my knees. That's how hard I fell. It was pretty nuts. Anyways, it didn't stop me. I kept going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was pretty cool. The flashlight trick works. It's real. I've witnessed it. I believe it. I was there. I saw it.
So we did a ghost hunt at the mill, and these guys all went upstairs and were in the attic and stuff, and he had some motion ball things, and it went off like a couple of times, and I just kept sitting there like, okay, what is this? Just watching to see, and then he kept trying to get them to go off, and they wouldn't go off again. I'm like, they've been going off.
What was the motion balls, and then the what is it? The motion.
Oh, just drew a blank. REM pod.
The REM pod, yeah. The cat ball started going off, and then the REM pod started going off too at the same time. So that was weird.
But we couldn't get it to go off on our own. But it only happened that one time when you guys weren't there with me.
So that's...
And then one time while he was with me.
That's still like the one thing that sticks
weird.
out to me as like a real anomaly was because you guys were still on that level and I went downstairs and that was like the only time I felt that impending dread.
Well, he
Where
saw
was
it
it?
at the mill.
Benson Grist Mill.
Oh, yeah. I went there when I was a teenager.
Well,
I'm
I
sure
told
there's stuff
Spence,
there.
like, he was like, do you want to come up
We
with
had
me?
some
You're going to stay
anomalies.
down. And I said, I want to stay down here because I wanted to see if it would happen again with only one person down there. And it never happened again, but you and I saw it together. And then you kept trying to set it off when you guys came back down and you couldn't get it to go off. So I thought that was odd. But I didn't feel anything like...
But I felt it, and I was
see
standing
anything.
right underneath of where that stuff was, and that was the only time in the 5 or 6 hours we were there I felt anything. It was just that moment, and it was literally only for a second or two
Isn't that weird?
where I felt that kind of like dread or fear. And then I heard it, and I went back upstairs, and instantly I didn't feel it anymore. So
I went into that entire ghost hunt like, nothing's going to happen to us.
Oh,
Like,
stuff will happen.
well, I think if you go in expecting something to happen, you're going to see stuff that's not really there.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on multiple episodes. Like,
I'm not saying you didn't.
Yeah, no, it's all on camera. I mean, and I...
No, I'm just saying
I
if we
witnessed
didn't
it.
have... I don't know. I just like to go into it being like, okay, nothing's going to happen, and then see if something happens. Because if it does, of course I'm going to believe it, you know.
yeah, there was one time we were... So there's a bridge that goes across the property.
a London Bridge.
A London Bridge. That goes across this
Paranormal London Bridge.
this little, like the mill pond that's right next to, in the middle of the property. And so Dave and Cara were on one side doing something, and there was two of our other friends on the other side, or Dave and Scott, sorry, were getting batteries on one side of the property, and then our friend T was in the schoolhouse, and he was doing like a solo thing, and I was kind of just walking around taking pictures of all the buildings and shit. And I had an EMF detector in my back pocket, and I went across the bridge, and the only time the thing went off all night, it just spiked. So I pulled it out and looked at it, and it was like all the way to the red, like all the way just pinned. So I walked across the bridge, started taking pictures, like snapping pictures, and then walked back across. Halfway across, it just pinned. Like, and so I was like, went and got these guys. That time, Cara showed up, and so I was like, "Hey, I'm getting this weird thing on the EMF detector. Let's go down here with the spirit box."
Mm-hmm.
So we walk down there to the bridge, and start kind of like seeing if there's, talking to, is there anybody here? Tell us your name. Who are you? And the spirit box is just going like.
That was a really good impression.
Yeah, that was so
That's
good.
exactly how it sounds.
That was so
and then
good.
something sneaks in
And then
and you're
it was
like,
just
oh
like
shit.
Alice.
I heard it too.
Who's Alice?
No, I heard it too.
And so I was like, "Did you guys hear that?" And
Yeah.
it sounded like it said Alice. So one thing that we were going into the whole thing, like I watched a bunch of videos, and there is recording of people saying there's a spirit there named Alice, of a little girl that drowned in the pond there. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm just psyching myself up to, I knew the name Alice was in my head already, and so I heard a blip on the thing that it sounded like Alice, but we all heard it say Alice, and then, like, reviewing the footage, you can't hear anything. It doesn't, it doesn't show up on the recording, nothing.
Yeah, when I took all the footage off of all the cameras, I like beelined it for that moment.
Yeah.
You can't hear it. I put my earbuds in, I tried it on my headphones, I maxed out my laptop volume, can't hear it at all.
I think if we
I was
would've-
there, I heard it, she heard it, he heard it.
So, what do you think about child spirits? Because I have some thoughts on that. I don't think that those are the real children.
Me
I
neither.
don't think they're their spirits. I think that it's another entity
Mimicking.
mocking and mimicking that spirit to gain your trust. Why would an innocent child who has not sinned
They wouldn't
be
be
stuck here in the realm? Why wouldn't they go forth to whatever the afterlife is, if there is one, right?
Think
I
about
don't
it too.
believe when you see children's spirits that it's always good. I think there is something bad making you comfortable and mimicking the person that was once there.
I think children's spirits go to women more too, because we have that maternal
Right.
instinct and we want to take care of them, and then they get us.
No, I've seen a child spirit before.
Right.
At your mom's, I've
Yeah.
seen her. That little
Yeah.
girl in the white dress.
Right, and it's
We've
like,
all seen her.
how is it really a child spirit? Is it something else, mimicking? Like, for instance, whatever mimicked me in my room.
That was
Yeah.
bad. Whatever
Oh,
that was.
I know it was bad, girl. I know it was bad. It was
I've
not
seen the
good at
movie
all.
Mimic.
Um,
I know it's bad.
I'm even nervous. I already talked about it, right? But it's since I was 8 years old, I've lived with that.
So in his mom's house, there's a little girl in a white dress that runs around.
Yeah,
And
I'm curious
a
to
lot of
know
people have seen
what
her.
this little girl really is.
His mom's house also has a lot of bad spirits.
That's
in
what I'm
it.
saying.
Yeah,
They
well,
mimic.
My mom in
experiences.
general just has a lot of things that are attached to her, and in her house, like anybody that stays there for even a short period of time usually experiences something that they don't like to talk
Yeah,
about.
I probably would if I was there.
So
and I
I-
would not like
Yeah.
to.
I had to stay there when I was
Oh, hell no.
pregnant with the twins because I was on bed rest
Oh,
and I
hell
didn't
no.
have anyone else to help me. So I stayed there and I was so scared the whole time.
I would have been
I was
scared.
like, please, nothing happened to me. And I remember Spence had to go perform at the hookah
Oh.
lounge. And I was like, can you please come sleep with me when you're done? I can't be here by myself.
It's so scary.
And he did. So sweet.
I don't know. I think it could go either way. It could actually be the spirit of a child, or it could be something mimicking it, because let's just presume for a second that when you die, you get the option that you go to the gates or what have you. Like, what if a child saw that, or the spirit of a child, and got scared and was like, no, I'm not going there, and then just get stuck here because they didn't go forward.
So I don't
Well,
believe that.
also
though.
it's like a lot of, so we did the episode on near-death experiences, and all the people said that when they died, they had a person that they knew from life, like either one of their parents or that had already passed on, or their grandparents. But what about if it's a child that dies unexpectedly, don't know that they're really dead, necessarily, don't realize that they've passed on, and they might not have somebody close on the other side that they might recognize from life.
And so they're scared.
And so they're scared.
Right. I just don't think that the spirit realm, the positive spirit realm, would leave them here in the in-between. I feel like there's an in-between, and I feel like there's good and bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they would leave them here. Do you know what I'm saying? To be exposed to the evil stuff that's going to want to take.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure, and I don't know where it is, but I'm like 99% sure that somewhere in the Bible I have read something about the protection of children, and that if they do pass on early, they will be okay. Like, they are guided.
Right.
And I believe that 100%.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what verse it is or what book it's in, but I know I've read it.
Uh-huh.
I know that if a child passes, that it said clearly to me that God will take them and that they'll be safe.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is a thing.
Yeah, I really don't
know,
believe that. If you see a child spirit, that's not a fucking child.
No,
so
I don't think it's actually
I do
the
not
child.
believe that. Also, I think that the more innocent you are when you pass over, you have the choice of coming back. I totally believe in reincarnation. I believe it's real. 100%. I think if you've lived a good life filled with love, you have a chance to come back if you want.
Well, I've known multiple people that have passed away for a few minutes and come back, and they all have the same stories. So I think I was watching all those shows that Spence was watching about that, and I was so intrigued by it because I have 2 family members that have passed and been resuscitated. My grandpa, my mom's dad, had that happen. He died for 8 minutes, and they were able to bring him back. And my dad passed away for a few minutes as well and was brought back. And they have very different stories, but also like the similarities in the stories are very interesting too. So watching all those shows we watched for him to prepare for that episode, it was really cool. Because it's the similarities in everyone's stories are really interesting to me.
Right.
Some of them go travel and see like family members, and then they get stuck somewhere, and then they're either stuck for a minute and they don't know where they are, or they'll have like a spiritual guidance telling them to go back or to come with them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them say that they have a choice.
Yeah, free will.
So that's interesting to me because that's actually like consistent with each story.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what the afterlife is. I don't know what's real, what's there, who the creator is, if there is one. But I don't know.
I'm not that afraid of dying because of all this. I think it's...
Yeah, I don't think that children, innocent, like pure people, would be left.
I don't think
I just
so either.
don't think.
I don't think they're, in a sense, left as much as might get lost in the.
But I feel like they'd be protected for sure by a positive entity and not left here for all the stragglers, the evil entities, mocking, mimicking their appearance, right?
Right.
I mean,
I don't know. I kind of think that all possibilities and eventualities are all happening simultaneously. All of it. So you could say it's heaven or hell, or a purgatory, or reincarnation,
or
just
there
another
yet
realm.
at that
Like, what if these spirits that we're talking about think we're ghosts?
Yeah.
Think about that. What if we are making noise, or all of a sudden appearing to them in an instant, and they're like, "What the hell? That's a ghost." But like, here we are living
in their houses.
a planet, and we're alive, but like they're recognizing us as spirits, just like we're recognizing them, but they're just in a different realm.
Yeah.
And we're in their houses.
Yeah.
And that's weird for them. They're like, who's this bitch?
Right. And that's why they get so
up
upset when you do construction and...
Well, we've talked about that too, like the possibility of like wormholes where, say that there's like, the fabric of time gets kind of like thin in a certain area, and you see through a wormhole in time. So you're seeing a lady in like 1800s dress or whatever,
right?
And you're looking at her, but she's
There's
in
a
her
woman
time.
on the wing.
she's in her time looking back through the hole like, what the fuck is that? And you're looking at her like that's a ghost. But
Right.
it's just really just like you're looking through. It's all happening all at the same
You're
time.
piercing
It's
the
just-
veil.
Yeah, you're just piercing
Yes,
through
the
the veil.
veil. Also, one thing I thought about, you always see ghosts that are from like an 1800s, early 1900s. You don't really see like modern. So this is my thought. Death is more understandable now, and there's more research. And so when people in the modern times die, they understand it more, so they move on where they're supposed to go, right? But like in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know. That was
There's a kitchen chair.
There's a
Anyway,
chair moving
But
upstairs.
like, do you see what I'm saying? Like back then, they
She's
didn't
freaked
really
out.
understand it very much, and so they're like stuck. They haven't moved on. But like the more modern people in our time, they understand it more. So like, you don't really see ghosts in like modern attire. You see mostly ghosts in like older shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought
Agreed.
about that. That
Well, I wonder how much of that is like the zeitgeist of ghosts itself,
right.
where we're so kind of like collectively trained in a way to think about, oh, this is a ghost of a little girl from 1850,
Mm-hmm.
or like a Victorian era ghost, where it's like that's where our mind automatically goes to when you see something that you
Mm-hmm.
perceive as a ghost. Versus, like, it's almost a sense of mental pareidolia, where you see something unexplainable and your mind automatically makes it that.
Your mind
Because
tries
it-
to make sense.
It's trying to fit a narrative that you have already been convinced of,
Right.
versus going, oh, that's a ghost of, you know, a black dude from the 80s with a jerry curl, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Rick James.
yeah, your
Rick
mind's,
James Ghost.
I'm back, bitch.
Is he with Charlie Murphy?
But you know what I'm saying? It's sometimes our mind just uses the most simple logic to try to make sense of something that we can't make sense of.
Yeah.
And so we've seen so many movies and heard stories and seen fake images and things like that of like these, you know, 1800s young ladies, and we think, okay, that's what a ghost should look like. So we just automatically connect the two to take away some of that fear.
Right.
Yeah. Or maybe
Yeah.
just when you die, you just get like an 1800s outfit.
Yeah.
So
Give it to you.
Or
Fuck, man. It's
Or-
like-
if I get locked in a corset
Shut up
when I
and-
die, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Those hurt.
or whatever this entity is mimicking what they want you to see.
yeah.
I mean, that who knows? Who knows?
So we talked about that. Also, it's like talking about like the wormhole. You're looking back into time, seeing this lady in the 1800s dress. She's looking back through the wormhole at somebody like me, dressed like me, doesn't understand
Oh,
it.
snap.
See that?
So
That's
she
a yes.
perceives it as an alien, like, she doesn't know how to explain it. So it's like I saw
Yeah.
a being from another world.
Yeah, she sees a dude in a hoodie and basketball shorts and is like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
have you guys
So-
ever had this much light action here?
No, you know, and all the time we've spent down here,
The one time that happened was with Timmy.
it started with Timmy, and now it's just
Hey,
like,
This happens
listeners,
with
our
me a lot.
lights
Maybe
have-
it's me.
Listeners, our lights just keep getting
Yeah.
brighter,
And
and
then-
then they dim, and then they get bright again, and
Yeah.
then they dim again, and we're not touching them. We're
This
Well,
happens to
Twilla
me.
has been having like fluctuations in power, like power outages, like every other day.
But it's not flickering like a power outage. It's like
Dimming.
warm, soft dimming and lighting. I don't know. At the hospital, this happens a lot. In the avenues where I live, by the Magdalene Choir School, at night when I'm walking by, there's these old post lamps. Every time I walk by, there's a second lamp, and it always goes out.
it could just be that the air
Every
conditioner's
time I
kicking
walk by,
on.
I
It's kinda
can't
weird.
explain it, and I'm just like,
it
hey.
could be, but I feel like we would have seen that.
I
way
work
more.
down here. Well, not lately, but I work down here a lot. I don't see this
And
ever.
there's times I come over and we record 2 or 3 episodes in a day.
I
and
spend
never see
12
one
hours down
fluctuation.
here. I
Yeah.
don't see
Yeah.
this.
I don't know.
So that kind of brings up something that I really wanted to talk about, is the hitchhiker theory. Is that something you guys believe in?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
they can attach. You just have to be strong and pray and whatever keeps you strong spiritually, like to keep them away from not attaching. Because I totally believe that can happen.
Yeah, I really kind of believe in the sense of the movie Insidious, where like the entities that are out in this ether around us that we're unaware of are aware of us and can feel our energies and kind of might get attached to somebody that has an energy that's more open to feeding their energy, or like might notice their existence more and give them that attention that they're seeking for, like gaining energy. So I believe in the hitchhiker thing for reals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry Timmy, but you fucking brought a hitchhiker over to my house.
No,
Timmy?
I think Timmy, I think you fucking did. I'm gonna fight you.
Well, it can't be me, because I feel like you'd have to have a soul, and I sold my soul to be like number 29,764th ranked podcast on Spotify, so it can't be me. I made a deal with the
Mission
devil.
accomplished.
I made a deal with the devil.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Just
ready?
a-
29,000?
Yeah, I want to stay right there,
That's
though.
pretty good.
Not up or down. No, I do think it is a real thing, but just like anything else, it's how much power do you give it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Exactly.
If you feel like, let's say we go to Phenomicon and we go do this video around Skinwalker Ranch and all that, and you feel like you brought something home with you, I feel like there's a way to deter it in not giving it that power and not letting it take any sense of control of your life and just being like, I'm not afraid of you. You ain't shit. Get out.
Yeah, get the
Well,
fuck out.
Everything's like that in life, like your attitude, spirits, whatever. Like we all have either a very strong spirit or a very weak spirit. Everybody has like their vibes, like we all have like.
For sure.
I think Spence and I are very big, strong spirits. So for us, like we do experience things.
And your daughters are so nice and kind too. And pure. So I think that, like, do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why spirits are coming in. They're trying to.
Well, I
Because
feel
all
like
of them are always really pleasant and nice and kind. Like, from what I've experienced.
Woo!
I
Do you
don't.
want to take them
Fooled
home?
you.
Fooled
No,
you.
they are. Like, I just get
I'll
this
take her.
sense.
They love
They're
me.
great.
Every time I come
Oh,
here, I
that's
get
the
a
one
sense
that's
of
the
purity
worst.
with your kids.
Yeah.
Like, that they are, like, good, spirited kids.
Dave
like,
is Kamea's best friend.
Am I, like, am I being,
They
fooled?
love you. When they know you're coming over, they're so fucking
Aw.
happy. Did you see them when we picked them up from school and you're in the car? Their faces were like,
Aw. I know, they're
they
so
love
cute.
you. They love you.
And
so
I
much.
just get that feeling, but I have to tell you about my paranormal experience. Okay, remember when we had that wild night?
Which one?
With your coworker's girlfriend who, anyways.
Which one?
I don't know. We had a girls' night.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
I feel like
Rochelle.
I'm being. Oh, never
Rochelle
mind.
and
Yes.
Enough said.
Nicole.
Okay.
Who's
We-
here?
Oh.
Aaron's
Yeah.
wife.
You made
I
like the Toscana Zuppa Toscana soup. It was
Okay.
delicious.
Rochelle and Nicole came over. I love Nicole. I wanna-
They were all great, but one of them was having a rough time with her boyfriend who works with you.
Guaranteed it was
Hey,
Michelle.
Okay. Do I need to use code words?
No.
Can we?
So you had that girls' night. It was your two, the two gals who worked with your spouses,
Yeah,
friends. Anyway, we had a wild night. We drank a lot.
we had fun.
We were both passed out on the couch. I remember very early in the morning.
Remember, I was like, I just need a nap. I'll come back to the party in a minute.
No. We
And you're
needed
like,
more than a
Kara.
nap.
Girl, Kara.
Yeah.
No. And I'm like, yes. Let me sleep for like 2 hours. I'm coming back.
Yeah. So I remember being woken up, like always, and nothing was there, and I kept going to sleep and being woken up, like something was like waking me up. And I remember seeing a young guy.
Here?
You know in Children of the Corn, Isaiah?
Here?
Yes. You know in Children of the Corn, Isaiah, he has that black hat.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever
Isaiah's
this,
in my
this
house and
whatever
tell
this
me?
was, he was young. He had straggly red hair, and he had that kind of hat and outfit on, and he was just standing like kind of like smirking at me.
Babe,
And I thought
we
it was
shouldn't
a
be
dream.
growing corn.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
stop the corn. So, anyways,
Go
I
pull
thought
that
it was
corn out
like
before you
just
leave.
like a dream or a hallucination. I ignored it, and then I remember when we woke up, your daughter came down and she's like, oh, I heard a noise, so I came down. I thought Jack was down here. And when she said that, it clicked to me. I was like, she heard whatever it was that fucking woke me up, and I saw it. So whatever this was, it was like in the Children of the Corn times. I don't know. I remember seeing that. I never said anything to you. But also, like, we had a wild night, but whatever it was making noise to where it woke your daughter up, and it woke me up. And I saw it.
Our oldest last week, not last week, whenever you were on Graveyards last, crawled into our bed and woke me up. And she was like, Mom, I just heard, like, it sounded like a demon whispering in my ear.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
She's like, I don't know what that was. It sounded like growling or something.
Yeah,
and she was like,
it
it sounded like
sounded
like this weird. And I'm all, are you okay? Is it heartburn? I'm like, shut up. Just snuggle me. Let's go to sleep. That's creepy. I don't want to talk about it. But she has not slept in her room ever since.
Yeah, that's a sign. Like me, I haven't had a mirror
She
in my
also
room
has
ever since.
Big ass mirrors
big
there.
ass, like it's
No,
like the
get rid of
double
it.
door.
No,
Get
we're
rid of it.
going
sliding
to.
door mirrors.
Yeah, I told her we'd get rid of them.
Yeah.
Can
At
you
least
help
take
with
it out
that?
of the room and face it to a wall.
Honey,
because I know how that
Maybe you
feels.
guys go look for doors tomorrow. She's really freaked out.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I said my mirror in my bathroom, the door's closed all the time. That's never open. I don't have any mirrors anywhere. For
Have you
any
ever,
room for that.
speaking of mirrors, have you seen Oculus?
No.
Oh, it's a great movie.
You've
Does it-
never seen Oculus?
Does it have mirrors and
Yeah.
shit?
It's my
Fuck
favorite
that.
scary movie. Did we talk about Oculus in the horror
Sure
movie?
did.
We did.
Yeah.
My favorite.
You got that in between yelling about shit.
I love.
No thanks.
that movie.
I'll pass.
You haven't seen
Pretty-
it?
No,
Pretty
if
scary
it
movie.
brings back memories to that, no
Girl.
thanks.
So
never
that
watched it
movie,
yet.
I love horror and gore. I love all of the things. You know me. But if it comes to like a trigger with what happened to me,
Can
no.
we watch it? Because you're going to love it.
Never.
We'll watch
No
it
thanks.
here.
Nope.
that
Not
movie,
here.
the,
Are you kidding me?
the mom or the stepmom, whoever she is, when she's like possessed
Yeah.
No thanks.
and
I don't
her
like
eyes are
possession.
like glowing.
Is she like eating glass or something?
Yeah, she's just like smiling at them, and she has like
Dude.
that's like the
It's so
oh
scary.
my gosh.
For me, like, that is one of the most scary movies in the world. And I was watching that with my dad. When we first moved in here. I was, like, watching it, and my biological dad was, like, looking at me, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
this
hell no.
movie. And my dad's
No,
like,
thanks.
what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, and he's, like, about to cry because it's so scary. My family does not do horror. So, well, my stepdad does. But, like, my biologicals, they do not do horror. And so when we first started dating, that was like a new thing for me with him, because I was like, oh yes, finally, like somebody that wants to watch scary stuff with me. And like we really bonded over that. Like, I love scary stuff, but sometimes it keeps me up for a long time at night. I was really excited about that. So when I watched Oculus with my biological dad, he was just like looking at me like, he literally wouldn't watch the movie. He's like looking at me.
Well, there's
No.
also
Why are you watching this?
ways
Yeah, no.
ways to contact. So it's kind of like along the lines of like tarot cards and like
No.
Ouija board stuff, but it's called mirror screen or a dark mirror. And you angle a mirror at a 45-degree angle, and then you stare at it in the
No.
dark, and then you kind of just
No,
wait for
not a
something
good
to happen.
idea.
But it's also one of those tools that people use to try to like contact the other side, and
Not a good idea. Don't
I do
it.
believe that there are. So that in our condo, like in the bathroom upstairs, like you walk in, there's a sink, and then you walk through this little vestibule type thing. Lights just dimmed again,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's another sink, and then the tub on the right. But like right when you walk in, there was a toilet and a sink opposite of each other. You can almost wash your hands while you're taking a shit. But there was a mirror above your head on the toilet that was like a cabinet, and then a mirror in front of you. And so like if you're sitting on the toilet, you could just see like that infinity mirror situation where you're just looking down a hallway of like 1,000 mirrors.
Wait a minute.
Oh yeah,
That's just
seeing a
reflection
reflection
off
of
of
that
the-
mirror right there.
Is that what that is?
Plexiglass on the laser. But yeah, it was like a
That's a light
It's two
reflecting
meters.
glass.
Are you cold? I just got really cold.
That's a light. That
I've
doesn't
been
reflect
cold.
light.
It just
No,
hit
it's
me
not
like
for
a
the
ton of
clock right
bricks.
there.
I'm like very cold and I was
So the comfortable laser doesn't
right
reflect
before.
light.
No, there's a plexiglass
Like my toes feel like
thing on top
icicles.
of the laser.
And it
Honey,
didn't
it
do that
has a
earlier.
thing that blocks the light, so it doesn't hurt our eyes. Is
Well-
that? I think it's from the clock.
I
Sorry,
think there's an entity that's made it very cold.
Well,
that's the air conditioner.
No.
if it wants to talk, I got a mic right here.
What do you have to say? Speak up.
Whisper into the microphone or screen.
Here's your chance. What would you like
Wouldn't
to
it
say?
be so fucked up that I post this episode and everybody listens to it and you hear, yeah, I want to talk.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What
Then-
that beepy do?
You ever been to London?
You wanna? I was just gonna say it. Oh, I'm glad you
Do
said
the
it.
listeners know about the London Bridge?
No,
Or are they
No,
just going to
no.
be like, what the
No,
fuck's
no,
going
no.
on about this London
we're not
Bridge?
gonna.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe we'll make that,
We'll see
you know,
what the
the
feedback
1 year
says.
episode.
A reveal.
See what
Easter
the
egg
feedback.
reveal.
A Patreon episode?
Yeah, ooh,
He
that's a
doesn't
good
have
idea.
Yeah.
You need to do Patreon, by the way.
I will when I start breaking, you know, double digits on episodes.
Dave,
This is what,
When you're-
episode 20...
it's okay.
This will be like
9,
30, 31 or 32.
We got you. We got you,
Man,
Dave.
it did get really cold. I was fine before. Now I'm just like almost shaking.
I feel
Yeah.
it, but I think that's why
No.
the lights dim because the AC kicked on.
But it's been kicking on all evening. And
I think
The,
it's
the
weirder
weird thing
that
is
it's-
that
No, this
the
is like drastic. There's an entity taking energy. And
Okay.
that's fine. That's fine. We're talking
so
about
the weird
ghosts.
thing is that usually at this time of night our AC starts calming down. It's already reached past its goal temperature, so it shouldn't be this cold down here. It's actually it usually stops kicking on at this time of night.
So let me ask a question.
Ooh.
What is scarier in your book? Ghosts or cryptids?
Oh.
I'm not afraid of either one, actually.
I would say cryptids because I've seen some scary fucking shit that's not explainable. That's kind of scary. Because they can do damage, right? Like ghosts, it's like paranormal.
But I
I feel like
think
you have more
that
control with ghosts than cryptids.
I think cryptids are more afraid of us, and they're not going to come after us.
I don't know
Some of
about
them.
that. Some of them are pretty terrifying, and
Well,
people go missing.
But they usually
Talk about Wendigos, Skinwalkers,
The-
the Rake.
That freaking Russia has some scary
Lamb
fucking
Squatch.
cryptids.
But babe, like think
Sheep
about
Squatch, I mean,
yeah,
Sheep
all of
Squatch.
those things
Still
are
my
scary,
favorite.
but like I think for the most part they don't bother most people, so like the chances of getting hurt by one is
The
very
Rougarou.
very low.
I think the people who go missing in the woods, the cryptids got them. Or
I think I'm
UFOs.
more likely to
or
get
Sasquatch.
hijacked by a crackhead.
Or if you're in
walking down the
Appalachia,
street.
it's the sheep squatch.
Exactly. Like, don't mess over there.
I don't know.
Spence and I went through the redwoods, and I was like, if we see Bigfoot, should I fuck Bigfoot?
I hear that they're fucking humans and having.
We were
humanoid
joking
Bigfoots.
about it in the car. I was like, if we see
Yeah.
Bigfoot, should I fuck Bigfoot and we're gonna be
I
famous?
mean, if it's gonna like calm them down a bit, yeah.
Just as like I
It's
think
gonna
of you
distract him
differently.
while I get the kids away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the
He
kids
wasn't.
weren't with
They
us.
weren't with us. I was like, if we see Bigfoot, let's get famous.
What is a female Sasquatch and she starts jerking the
he
wing?
starts jerking.
Oh my.
That video.
We got.
It's
How big is
hilarious.
a Sasquatch cock? I mean, Jesus, will it like rip you in half,
Probably.
or is it really small?
We got real graphic.
I mean, who knows?
We got real. I was like, if we're gonna see Bigfoot, let's get famous, right? Like,
How disappointing would it be that you're just like, I'm going to resign myself to do this, even though he smells and he's terrifying. Then you find out he's got a micro penis.
that's fine. It wouldn't hurt that
Think
bad.
about the OnlyFans fucking videos you'd make money off of with the Sasquatch.
Oh my. You know.
We
those-
literally joked about it for 3 hours because we had a 14-hour drive. We joked about it and joked about it and joked
That's
about
fair.
it.
You're already loopy in like hour 7.
Well, it was so dumb and funny, but yeah.
You know those videos where at night you hear like crazy like women screaming? I think it's the Sasquatch having sex. I think they are having great sex and the female Sasquatch is going off. Like, nobody's hurt. It's just like crazy Sasquatch.
She's
sex.
happy. She's
I'm like,
getting
yeah,
that.
they're just going at it. That's
She's
what's going
squirting
on.
that G.
They're coming out at night. They're feeding. They're having sex. Leave them alone.
These
I gotta go to
Right?
the woods more often,
Like,
man.
she's just like,
Holy.
rah! It's like, yeah, she's having a good time. Leave her alone.
Oh, yeah. I need to talk.
Talk about what?
Okay, I guess I'll get my Sasquatch suit ready.
out of all of that conversation, that was the point where I got weirded out. When she just randomly turned to you after talking about
We
fucking a
have to talk.
Sasquatch. It was like, we have to talk.
Uh-oh. She's like, I fucked a Sasquatch.
We've
We
been
might
detected.
have some kids.
We've been
Grow out your
detected.
back hair.
Oh, Lord.
We've been detected. We need to talk. We were detected. We have to talk about it. Where's
You
it
know,
at?
I think definitely the like ghost thing is a little scarier because it's completely unknown versus a physical being. And when I think of cryptids, the first one I think of is the rake.
Oh,
I'm like,
from,
yeah.
from Russia, right?
No,
Are they from
actually,
Russia?
it's a total made up thing,
Oh, okay.
made up by Reddit, but it's based here in
How
the
do you
U.S.
Oh, I thought they were from Russia. On Paranormal Con Camera, I thought I saw something and it was from
How
Russia.
do you
I'm
know
like,
it's
Russia
made
has all
up?
the crazy shit.
It's
like
tracked,
screaming.
and I believe it. But here's my thing with a cryptid, especially the rake. Like, yeah, that's scary, but can you stand up to a shotgun? And I don't think a rake can.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Because I think I know the answer, but I just want to know. So, we always talk about ghosts and all that. Like, are you a spiritual person? Do you believe, like, would you consider yourself Christian or, like, atheist? Or, like, where are you in that? Where are you there?
Spiritual, yes, but I think about it as spiritual within myself, not of,
Organized religion.
not even of like a greater power or anything like that. More of like, be a good person to be a good person and understand you have a lot of magic and ability in and of yourself.
Well,
Even if
I
it's not
asked
like-
this because I think it makes a big difference in believers and non-believers.
It does, and I'll be honest, and I'll say I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the devil or anything like that. And it's not to say anything negative against anybody who does. It's just
no, I don't think so. I'm just
it
wondering.
just doesn't fit me because I think there's a lot of way too many unanswered questions in the entire universe,
sure.
and it's too easy to go, oh yeah, God did that.
Have you
Or,
had
"That's
any?
the devil."
Here's my next question, because this made me change. I never doubted anything, but it made me definitely know. Have you had any experiences with you or your children that have like been life and death,
Yeah, actually,
and it hadn't changed your stance?
no. Even when other people told me that should have changed my stance, I
Well,
couldn't.
Can you elaborate, like what happened, or do you not
So-
want to talk about that? It's
No,
okay if
I'm
you
cool
don't.
with it. So Deacon, my youngest son, he was born like almost 4 months early, premature.
Oh, my.
So we've all been through. How did I not know that about you?
I guess I just never shared it.
Why? We've been through that too. Why haven't we talked about this?
I don't know. I guess it never comes up.
Did you talk to Spence about it?
No. I don't think I've actually.
You
said
had
that
a
out
beer
loud in a
bottle
long time.
baby too?
Well, so he was actually pretty good size despite being premature. So the doctor said he was slated to be a very large baby if he went full term, but he didn't. But yeah, he was perfectly healthy and everything when he came out. And then my daughter, when she was about to be delivered, the cord wrapped around her neck. And this is legitimately the only time I've ever had a real panic attack in my life. And I had no idea that I was having a panic attack. I thought I was about to fucking die. Like, I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to throw up, the whole 9 yards. And I, like, had to leave the room. And my ex still gives me shit about it. It was like, dude, I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was having a heart attack.
She was probably feeling the same way.
Yeah, but there's like 9 people surrounding her, and I was like, I had no idea. But yeah, and then it was just like, okay, let's do this, and then boom, she popped out. She was just fine.
Oh man, That's a whole nother podcast, but I literally think about the moment that our twins were born and what he was going through, because I only know what I was going through. That's a whole thing. Like, I know, like, in that time, there's a lot of spiritual experiences that happen around that too.
Sure.
I can elaborate, but I think about it, I can elaborate on that to talk about the ghost stuff, because there was a lot of, like, past family members that were with me during that time, and, like, things that told me things were going to be okay. So I think that, like, the spiritual realm, it can be scary. It can be like, oh, the lights just turned on again.
Air conditioner though. Too.
And so did the AC. We're fine. We're no ghosties.
Allegedly.
Allegedly no ghosties. But I remember, like, during that time, that was, like, a lot of, like, that was probably the most spiritual experiences I've had in my entire life. Like, during that pregnancy and during, like, my bed rest and their birth and after their birth and all of that. I think that whole year surrounding that time, like, strengthened my belief in a spiritual realm and God and angels, and all of that stuff was so strengthened for me during that time of my life, and I'm really grateful for it, because as hard as it was, I don't think I would believe in any of this.
I definitely think it's a huge trigger mechanism, coming close to death especially, where you will become more open and more, not quite susceptible, but more attuned to it. Great word.
Well, I spent probably 3 weeks to a month in the hospital on hospital bed rest. But when they first brought me in, I want to speak on this. This is definitely a very big spiritual experience. It's not like creepy or anything at all, like we've been talking about. But I went to just a routine checkup with the twins. I had found out. I went to my, like, 3-month ultrasound, because when you have multiples, they send you early. And they saw that my cervix was starting to open. And so they're like, hey, you need to go downstairs to labor and delivery right now. We have to either stitch you up and keep them in, or we have to put you on bed rest. So there's no pressure on your cervix, so it won't open anymore. And I went down there, and I started having active labor, and I was only 14 weeks along, so I would have lost both of them. And I remember calling him. I had dropped our oldest off at my best friend's house, and yeah, that day was really rough, actually. Like, it was really, really rough. I dropped them. I went down there, and they immediately hooked me up to IVs and all this stuff, and, like, give me fluids and medications to stop what was happening, because I was starting to have contractions. Like, I was about to have them and lose them. They're trying to keep them in me, and so they're, like, pumping me full of all this shit. They give you, like, a magnesium cocktail to, like, stop the contractions. And it makes you really hot, and you feel, like, flushed and hot, but it also makes you very tired. So I went to sleep. He was there, but I don't really remember our interactions at all, because I was so drugged up. And I remember, like, being alone in this room, like a labor and delivery room, because they were pretty sure I was just going to lose them. They had me in a labor and delivery room, and I remember sleeping, and I was dead asleep, and I remember hearing what sounded like a whole crowd of people in the room. I've talked to Spence about this multiple times. It sounded like a whole crowd of people in the room, but it sounded like familiar voices. It sounded like my mom's mom, who's passed, my Grandpa Fisher, who has passed, my Grandma and Grandpa Cates, who have passed, my grandma Arlington, who has passed, like, everyone sounded so familiar. It was more than just them. I don't know who the other people were.
Probably your ancestors from before.
Yeah, it sounded like a whole, like, 50 people in the room talking, and it was loud, and they woke me up. And I was super irritated because I was so tired after everything I went through that day. And I remember, like, sitting up in my bed and, like, shut the fuck up. Like, like irritated.
Telling the ancestors
They're like,
to
oh
shut
shit,
the
we
fuck
pissed
up.
her off. We'll
I
be a little
remember
more quiet."
sitting up in the bed, like, annoyed.
Yeah.
Shut up. And I sat up, like, irritated, like, who's waking me up? And I opened my eyes and no one was there. Not him, not my doctors, not my nurse, nobody. And I'm in this huge room at the size of this with curtains and, like, no one, you know, like, you know, you've been in labor delivery, you've had kids. No one in the room. And I'm like, why is it so loud in here? And I, like, sat up and no one was there and it was gone, silent. Just totally gone. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
I've had that experience.
And then he comes walking in and he's like, hey, are you okay? I just want to go eat. Or I don't even remember. I was so drugged up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What the fuck is going on? It's so loud in here. And, like, there was no one. And then they ended up sending, like, they admitted me and I had to stay there for weeks. It was terrible. But that experience was so vivid still to this day. Like, I'm never going to forget that.
Yeah.
It was so real. Like, I don't know who was in that room with me. But I know that there were so many people there with me, like, keeping me strong, keeping me safe. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of that scene from the last Star Wars movie. You know, when Rey's going to go fight the Emperor, and she hears all the voices of the Jedi.
All the Jedi.
Of course, yours is way better than what happened in Star Wars because that movie sucks.
But
No.
they're all, it was your Jedis
Yeah.
looking out for you.
It was my
Yeah.
family. Like, it was real. It was so real.
What was yours?
With the similar situation?
Yeah.
So, my nice grandma, she was everything. She was dying, and she was out for, like, 5 days. I got there on a Wednesday, and, you know, everybody was coming through the house, and, you know, so hours before she passed, we were all in the living room, like, on blow-up mattresses and shit, and, she started to do what they call the death rattle, and it traumatized me. And my little cousin was asleep, and I just thought, I do not want her to wake up and hear this. So, I had these AirPods that I put in to kind of drown out the noise. And I got up to use the bathroom, and I can hear her, and my aunts and uncles were like, Jessica, come in here. And I was just so upset, because I'm like, why do we get to help our pets when they're dying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, before they suffer, why do we get to help our pets?
We can't help our
But we
our
can't help
people.
our families. And I'm sitting here listening to my grandma just, like, going, you know, and thinking about my cousin who's going to wake up and not understand what that is and be traumatized, because I'm already traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
you know,
awful sound.
right. So I get up in the bed and I'm explaining to them how I'm upset, and they're like, your grandma wouldn't have wanted that. She was very, very religious. And I was like, well, it's not right. So anyways, I got up and I had to leave, and I went and laid back down, and I put the AirPods back in, and I prayed to my grandpa, who had passed years ago. And I was like, please come and get my grandma. Please come and get her. Like, just please. Like, so I fall asleep. And then all of a sudden, I hear my grandpa's voice. And he's talking to someone. A lady with a very deep voice. I've never heard her voice before. But I can hear them talking like they're excited. They're having a great conversation, and they're excited. And I can hear them. And I open my eyes, and all my cousins are still asleep. It's like just darkness. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, okay, I'm just dreaming, you know? So I close my eyes again, and then all of a sudden I hear, like, what sounds like a rainforest of birds. And I open my eyes and nobody's awake. Everybody's still asleep. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So then I close my eyes again. And then I open my eyes and I can see my cousins going in the hallway. So I'm like, okay, something's happening. You know, like something's going on. And then I closed my eyes again and I heard my uncle say my name. And I opened my eyes and everybody was still sitting on the ground in the hall. I'm like, whatever. So then I closed my eyes again, and then all of a sudden I'm woken up by my uncle, and he's like, Jessica, the same sound. And I open my eyes, he's like, she's gone. She's gone.
They came together, yeah.
So I heard my grandpa come and get her. I don't know who was with him. I don't know who she was. But I heard it, and then when we went into the room, my aunts and uncle said, Jessica, it was so beautiful. We opened the window, and we heard the birds. There was a bird nest out her window. They're like, the birds started chirping, and we told Grandma, it's a beautiful morning, the birds are chirping, you can go. So that's what I heard. It was crazy.
Do you know how many people that I've been around that are like getting ready to go? My mom's mom, I was really close to her. And my birthday is June 12th. And she was dying like that week, and and it was my birthday, and I crawled in her bed and I laid with her, and I was playing with her hair, and I was braiding her hair, and she looked, and she hadn't even talked to anybody in days, and she turned her head to me, put her nose against mine, and she was like, I'm not gonna die on your birthday, honey.
Oh.
And she was like, you're my first grandbaby, I'm not gonna die on your birthday. And like and that was the only word she said all day. She kept her nose against mine. And we just like had that beautiful moment, and I laid with her for a long time, and she stayed with us for 2 more days and then 3 more days, and on the 15th she passed away. I remember I was at Marnie's house. That's my aunt. I was at Marnie's house laying in the room, and I heard the phone ring, and I knew she was gone already. Cause like you know, like I could smell her, and I knew. It felt like she came to us as she was going.
Yeah. I feel like there's an in-between.
I think there is definitely an in-between. I think that it's kind of
the weird thing is that night, me, Crystal, Sheena, and Curtis all woke. We were all sleeping in the same room. I feel like she swooped through the room and woke us all up and left.
Yeah.
All of us woke up at the same time, and then the phone rang.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely an in-between
to tell us.
For specifically that reason, to kind of go and kind of
tell your loved ones that you're going.
Yeah, say goodbye to your loved ones, or kind of closure for your own, you know, when you're passing away, you have closure for your soul or your spirit. Same thing like when my grandpa passed away. I was living with Shem and Rachel. I heard the phone ring, and it was like 5 a.m, and heard the phone ring, and I just got up and started getting dressed.
Yeah,
'cause
we
I knew.
know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. So my brother answered the phone. He was like, "Oh no," and then he came and told me I was already awake and like dressed and ready to go over there. And he was like, "Yeah, Grandpa passed away." I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, we already knew too.
We can go over there.
Before they came in and told
Yeah.
us, we knew. Dave, have you lost anybody close to you yet, like your grandparents?
Have you watched somebody pass away? Have you watched somebody leave this earth?
Directly, no.
Have you been like one of your close family members, like a grandparent or anything?
Oh yeah.
Have you had? Well, we were just sharing experiences of like when someone close to us has passed away, how we knew they were gone before we were told they were gone. Have you experienced that?
Well, yeah, for sure. When my grandpa passed, like, I woke up that morning and I knew. It was, it's intrinsic. You can feel it.
Did you feel that he came to you at all?
No.
Before you
knew? I kind of have since, but I wonder if those moments are just my mind telling me things in a way, because I often ask myself, like, what would Grandpa say about this, or what
Or
advice would
did
he
you
give me?
smell him? Like, did you? I see that a lot. Like, I feel that a lot when I'm. Did you smell their smell? When Spencer's dad came to me in that dream that I talked about earlier, I could smell him. That was weird.
That's pretty
He
cool.
smells like Polo cologne.
Yeah,
That's pretty distinct.
my grandpa
It's
smelled
so
like Old
intense,
Spice.
and I-
Old people. So
Old Spice
Did
is
you
great.
smell it? Did you smell it?
I don't recall at that time if I did or not. Yeah,
The smells are intense when they come to you. It's
well,
so
once in
weird.
a while you catch that whiff and your olfactory sense kicks in and you're like, oh yeah, it smells like Grandpa, or somebody else that has passed or gone or whatever, and it's just like in an instant just comes right back to you. But
If I ever smell rave hairspray, I know it's my grandma.
Oh my. Yes.
You know the smell.
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, my
Oh, for
Grammy.
sure.
That's how I knew the other night that wasn't her.
maybe that's her.
Maybe that's her.
That was
I didn't-
telling you, yes, confirmation. The lights just really went bright.
I
I
didn't.
feel like the lights are confirming stuff. Do you think?
Yes.
I don't know.
Maybe,
That's
yeah.
my take
Every
on
time
it.
we say something.
If it brightens up,
it's
it's like, yeah, you're right. And if it's dim, it's like,
No, it wasn't Granny. It wasn't Jerry.
So
It
the only
wasn't
thing
Grandma
that
Jerry.
I've ever experienced, both my grandfathers have visited me in dreams, and one, my dad's dad, came to me in a dream, and it was like we had gone to church for something, and we were in the church, and then my grandpa just walked in. I was like, oh, like, you're here. And then he was just like happy to see me, and then like was playing with the kids, like, and we were just kind of talking like I always talk to him, like, just I would just go and see what's going on and how he's doing and stuff like that. And so we were just having a conversation like that, and it was pretty normal. And I woke up, I was like, that was cool. I think that he really came to me in my dream and was like checking on me. And then I had a dream about my mom's dad who came to me, and it's just really funny because like he was really a very stern person, old school Tongan guy, like
See that.
very strict. And so in my dream he was just fucking yelling at me like he would do, like, to everybody, like
That
all the
sounds
grandkids
so
would
correct.
come to his house, and we'd be there for whatever reason, and then he would like
Like
start,
sweeping the lawn.
so he'd be sweeping the sidewalk every time we went to his house. So he would just sweep his sidewalk, like the sidewalk up to his front door, and like the curb next to his house, everything was just swept, super nice, super clean. And like if anybody was making a mess, he would tell them he was gonna whip them. Like, you want the leather? You want the leather? You want me to whip you?
That's how you know it's
That's how
them,
it was him.
though. That's how you
And
know
so,
it's
like,
them.
I saw him, and he was smiling, but he was yelling at me.
uh-oh.
But I couldn't understand him because he was speaking Tongan. So I could, like, catch a word here and there, and he was talking about, like, his, like, our lineage or whatever. And so I was like trying to catch what he was saying, but like also kind of laughing at the same time because he was yelling at me, and he was laughing too, but yelling at me at the same time. And I remember waking up and just like kind of giggling, and then I rolled over, and I had a notebook at the time. I was like writing music and stuff like that, and so I picked up my notebook and just wrote a song, just like. Usually I'd write a song, like I'd write like a verse and then kind of like
What song was it?
Back or forward track it.
back forward, yeah.
Which song was it, babe?
Genealogy.
I knew it. Oh my gosh.
So that was like him.
Him speaking through you.
Almost, yeah.
This
I
is one
mean,
of Spencer's most. When he would perform this song, I'm gonna give him a break. When Spence would perform this song, it would drain him so much emotionally. He would have to like take a minute and let the band just jam.
Yeah.
Because when he would perform this song, this makes me emotional. I was so proud of you every time you sang it. Sorry, baby. I'm not sorry. I was really proud of you. Every time you'd get up there and sing this song, like, you would feel this man, like, just every fucking thing he had, putting it out into that mic and jamming that, like, this man has stage presence you two will never get to see. I'm sorry. When he would sing this song,
or just giving me something to.
Okay, I'm going to point out that light was different because it kind of went dim and brought back up.
When Spence would sing this song, everyone in the whole entire room, no matter where he was performing, he would conduct that whole entire energy. Don't talk for a second. I know you want to. Babe, you don't even know what you did to people. He doesn't know.
I'm ready to give you the London Bridge right now.
Oh, snap.
He would sing this song, and people would just, like, they would be trying to party and drink, but you would see them, like, hearing and listening, and, like, and they would stop. And just hear him.
Like,
they would hear him and, like, just be, like, so moved. This song is, like, next level.
So, like, it would be like, typical bar scene. Everybody's partying, dancing, laughing, having
Drunk.
a good time. Drunk.
Having fun.
We'd play the song, and at the end of the song, everybody's just standing there staring at me like...
People would be, like, crying.
Aw.
That's awesome.
That's good.
This guy has some stage presence, like, you fucking... Why you're not a fucking famous musician is beyond me.
Well, I'm a famous dad. No.
You're the best dad, baby. You're the best dad.
And you're
ever.
on, like, the 29,678th most ranked podcast.
There's that. We have 10s and 11s of fans.
You're the best husband I ever had.
You're the best Spencer I've ever known.
Me too. I've only known like 3 other ones personally, but I feel like I'm the best one. There was also weird story, super off subject, but my name is Spencer Kimball Johnson, and there was another kid that was born in the same hospital a day after me that was named Spencer Kimball Johnson, and his parents had the same initials as my parents had.
Oh, that is weird.
And so we were issued the same social security number because they thought we were the same person.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I didn't know this until I was 16, and I went to go get my driver's license, and I went with my dad to go get my driver's license. My dad is a white guy, and I look like very Hispanic. And so we went to the DMV.
He's not Hispanic.
And I had all my tests done and shit, and just paying the fees and getting my actual license. And so they ran my paperwork, came out, grabbed me and my dad, took us to this room and sat us in this room for like 2 hours. And we're just waiting in this room like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
DMV, maybe it just takes forever. All of a sudden,
You're in a room locked up.
these 2 cops show up and start questioning us, like, what's your name, what's your date of birth, who is this person to you, talking to my dad, talking to me about my dad. I'm like, this is my dad? Well, you guys don't look like your father and son. Like, so it's
I'm
like,
mixed, asshole.
like, what's going on? And finally they're like, well, your driver's license was already issued 3 weeks ago in, like, Lehigh or some shit. So the person that has the same name, same initials on their parents, same social security number.
Jeez.
And so we found out this whole thing, and then I was on the news.
What? You were on the
I was on the news.
You're on Get Part.
Get
Oh,
Part.
my Lord. Okay.
Gephardt came over and did a
Get Part.
story
For real.
on me. And,
Were you really on Get Part?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so all the jokes about like you being right under Tom Cruise, you just passed him.
That's,
You were on Got Junk
Got Junk.
and Gephardt.
And Gephardt.
Whoa.
He's been on. He's famous. He's been on Hoarders. Gephardt. What else?
Park City Television.
Park City Television.
Dude,
He's famous.
killing
fine.
it.
But
That's
yeah,
fine.
so this kid, this other Spencer, since he was younger, since I got issued the Social Security number first, I had to keep that one, and then he got issued a new one.
Get dunked on, nerd.
Yeah. And so, but it's like he has all my information and has all the fucking valid IDs and
You know
shit
what's
to
crazy?
steal my identification if he wants to.
When we had
Hopefully
Izzy,
he's not a crackhead.
is that all gone?
Yeah.
When we had Izzy, there was another Kara Johnson in the labor and delivery department 2 doors down from me. So they mixed up our charts, and I said, I'm like, because I had strep B, and I was like, why aren't you guys giving me my antibiotics? They told me I would have to do that when I went into labor, and the nurse was like, what? I'm like, I have to have antibiotics. I have to. They just did the test like a week ago. I have to do it. And she's like, what? And there was another Kara Johnson 2 doors down having a baby, and they swapped our charts. So they had to like come fix it.
Meant to be.
Isn't that weird? Well, the same thing happened with him.
Yeah.
So, and we were all, that was at St. Mark's where you were born. And we had our
Luckily,
first
it's pretty
baby
easy
at
to
St.
tell
Mark's.
that me and my brothers are all like related, or else maybe I was swapped, you know, for the other guy.
Oh my gosh, you look exactly like your mom. Shut up.
Yeah.
No, you were not
Yeah.
swapped.
Closest I can get to that was when I was like 19. I worked at this metal fab factory. I ran a press. Like, terrible job, sucked. But we got paid on Wednesdays, which was weird. So they would come and give you your check, and then you would drop it off, you know, in the direct deposit at the bank drive-thru on your way home. And like, I had like a long weekend, so I was going to go shopping for Christmas, and at that time, you know, there was no online banking, so you called to get your bank balance, and I was like negative $700. I was like, what the fuck? So I went into the bank, and I was like, how am I negative this much? And it took them like 4
Got
days
your
to sort
check
it out.
balance and your book.
Yeah, I was like, dude, here's all my stubs. I made these deposits. Fucking Wednesday every week, like clockwork, at the same time. And they called me a few days later, and they were like, oh, we've been depositing your money into another account with the same name. Wait, hold on. You've been depositing my money into somebody else's
With the account number? Oh,
No,
wait. Should we pause it? Because we're not talking about ghosts anymore.
No, it's fine. But no.
No, it's not fine, because your
So-
listeners are going to be like, what the fuck is this shit?
The bank had 6 other members, and we're talking a small town bank in the middle of Shitsplat, Missouri. They had 6 other David Eugene Browns.
You lived in Missouri?
Yeah, and they were putting my money into somebody else's account with the same name.
Fucking 6?
6.
Why'd you live in Missouri? What's wrong with you?
That's a good question.
Let's talk about
I have
that.
a friend that moved to Missouri.
Why
On
did
purpose?
he lived in Missouri?
Well, his mom
Missouri's
was there.
beautiful.
He's doing good, but it's interesting.
Well, I hope they're putting his money in the correct account.
Now we're talking about bank accounts.
Oh,
So-
okay.
I want to talk about how long this hair has been growing.
Well, I just trimmed 4 inches off last week. Yeah. My friend Mario cut it off 4 inches
I'm going
a week ago.
bald in this bitch. Look at her. Fucking hair.
Keep it rolling, dude.
Keep it going. No, we should talk about paranormal, though.
Okay.
Tell us another story.
Okay, so this one was pretty real. This was in 2021 or 2022. My godfather, he was going out of town for 2 weeks and asked that I stayed at his house and watched his cat. He took his dog with him. So Bax, he likes to chase the tennis balls. And Cleo, the cat, she doesn't really care about that. So he left me with the cat and I watched the house. So anyways, it's a brand new modular home in a gated community off of State and like 40-something South. And a retirement community. And anyway, so I'm like, yeah, I'll stay. So the first weekend, it was a Saturday. My godfather called me and said, hey, I left my prescription there. Will you please find it and like send it to me overnight? I really need these meds. So I'm walking around the house on the phone. I'm talking to him, going through the bathroom. And all of a sudden I hear this crazy rumbling noise. I thought somebody was in the backyard with like a weed whacker or a lawnmower. It was really strange. And then I look down and it's his cat. She is puffed up. Her tail is big and she is growling. She's like, "Roar," like pissed off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Thinking, So I'm thinking, okay, somebody's in the backyard. I go and look in the backyard, nobody's there. So I call him. I'm like, hey, I think I found your prescription. And I said, Cleo is growling. Has she ever done that? And he's like, no. Who's she growling at? And I said, well, I don't know. She just puffed up and she's pissed off. He's like, no, she's never done that. And I was like, he's like, well, maybe she's trying to be all big and tough because Bax isn't there. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So I let it slide. And then the next weekend, I was actually getting ready to go with Cara to go to the 9th and 9th Street Fair to help her with her booth. It was early in the morning. So it was like 6 something in the morning. I'm taking a shower. And right when I get out of the shower, I open the door, and Cleo, the cat, she always comes by and sits across the hall and just sits there and watches me get ready. So she's sitting there. I have the fan going because, again, I just took a shower. There's no window in the bathroom. And all of a sudden I hear this real loud shrieking whistle noise over the fan. The fan's really loud. I'm like, what the hell? So I turn off the fan. I can hear a whistle, like of a male whistling a tune. I'm not going to repeat it because it was very scary. And I was like, what the fuck? Anyway. No, hold on. Let me backtrack before the whistle. I'm in the bathroom.
The lights just did that again?
The cat's across the hall. Cleo's across the hall watching me. I'm getting ready. All of a sudden, from the corner of my eye, I see one of Bax's tennis balls roll down the hall. It catches my eye. I look at Cleo. She looks at the ball and follows it. And then she runs off. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're on your own.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to pretend that she did that and she's playing. So I keep getting ready, and that's when I heard the whistle. And I turned off the fan, and it was a tune. I had a feeling it was like a male energy, and it was whistling. And I was like, oh, fuck. So then I was like, Cleo, come here, where are you? Like, what the fuck?
Help me, Cleo.
Get up, like, don't leave me here. I got ready so fucking fast. I was out of there. So when I came home, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a prayer, and I'm going to tell it whatever the fuck it is to get the fuck out.
You were so fucking freaked out when you got to me.
I got home, and I found all of Baxter's fucking tennis balls, and I put them all in a pile in the hall. All of them. And I told it to get the fuck out. You're not welcome. Whatever you are, please leave. La, la, la. So I go to bed, and Cleo's in bed with me. And you know what was interesting is at first she would roam around the house and sleep wherever. But closer to that time, she started sleeping at the end of the bed facing out. So that's a sign that she's protecting.
She's on guard.
Oh, yeah.
Cats do that.
Right.
They'll, like, stay with their people and, like...
So I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went to bed. I woke up, and when I went to get out of bed, one of those fucking balls was sitting right in the middle of the fucking floor. So I thought, okay, either this entity is saying, okay, game's over, I give up, or fuck you. So I picked up the ball, and I put it in the corner with the rest of the balls again. I never told my godfather until like a year later, probably a year and a half. But I didn't say anything. But that was fucking scary. That was real. I saw the ball go down the hall. I heard the whistle. I woke up with... Who would have moved the ball there?
Meanwhile, she came to my event and drank all day and was like, Cara, I'm scared!
Yeah, like, I'm scared back to my godfather's fucking house.
Sorry.
So rewind to like a year and a half later. I'm there having dinner with him, and he has a visitor from New York staying. A really good friend of his. And all of a sudden he starts mentioning, he's like, well, yeah, Floyd, my godfather's name is Floyd. He's like, you've mentioned waking up and hearing footsteps in the house. And that's when I was like, okay, now it's my cue to tell him. And I was like, oh, really? You've heard footsteps? He's like, yeah. And I said, well, I wasn't going to tell you, but do you want me to tell you? And so I told him. And after I told him that, his friend looked at me and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to go check into a motel. And I was like, well, if nothing's happened to you, I'm sure you're fine. I'm like, but it was real. And I said, and there's something here. And whenever I go over and have dinner, I just block it out. Sometimes I'll remember what happened and I'll just block it out. But I was there by myself when this happened. And Baxter wasn't there. It was just Cleo and I.
I remember that.
But then after that, my godfather told me, he said that he and Dan, who said he was going to check into a motel, were watching TV, and all of a sudden Cleo jumped from behind the couch and did this crazy, like, growl and puffed up and went flying down the hall. And I was like, see, I told you. You didn't listen to me.
The animals know.
Animals
know, I'm telling you.
I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is.
Animals will fucking
but
tell you.
It was so real and creepy. Like, to move a ball like that and then me wake up and you put a ball right next to the bed. Come on.
The animals know, though.
Yeah.
If it, like, our cats will bring us their toys and stuff. Yeah. So I don't really worry about the toys being brought to us. But, like, if your pet does not do that and then that happens, like, that's weird.
Yeah, no. It's scary.
So, in the vein of, like, knowing that places are haunted or knowing that you've had experiences in places, not even personally having experiences, say like a haunted hotel or something, are you guys in any way like inclined to go and check those places or like stay at those places and try to experience something?
I would stay if there were people with me, and as long as I like prayed enough and had my special things that I would wear.
Protections. Because
I don't want to have that black mass thing happen again. That was pretty scary.
I'm not really afraid of it. Like, I would stay at those places. I'm not afraid of it because I know how to protect myself. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah. I think it's, I would rather want to go there not knowing that something might happen. Like, if you took me to Louisiana and sent me to some haunted place, I would hope that you didn't tell me, but since I booked all of our vacations, I would probably research it and I would probably already know. But if you like booked something,
you might be suspicious.
Well, you don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not the passenger princess. You are. So
if he books anything, guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I do all of that for us. So, like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't purposely book a place that was known to be haunted. But if he wanted me to do that and we wanted to go, I would go. Yeah, I would go. But I wouldn't book it. Like, if he was like, hey, Kara, pick us a place, I wouldn't book it. Because I want to relax. I don't want to be stressed out the whole time. But if he was like, hey, I booked us this place, I'd probably look at it and be like, fuck. You're an ass. I just want to relax.
You really booked a hotel in Roosevelt, Utah?
This ghost is going to ruin my vacation. I would talk about it.
I was hoping. So I went, before my dad passed away, I went with him to...
My dad has property in Roosevelt, Utah. That's
I went
funny.
to Seattle with my dad. And it was...
I'm going to own it soon.
It was something that, like, his... so he had something going on with his spine, and he wanted to have surgery to open up the... like, where your spinal cord goes through your hips.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have done anything.
So he was having hip problems, like, he was having leg pains, and so he went to go see a specialist in Seattle that was talking about like opening up the
space in the disc.
Right. That your spinal cord goes
Your
through.
spinal cord has like... Are you familiar with anatomy?
Yeah.
I'm a doctor.
Dr. Dave.
Not a pool man?
Not a pool man.
Sorry, I did a lot of medical
but
stuff. Sorry.
So
Get nerdy.
you're throwing me off here. God damn it!
Shut up. You want to fight? I'm trying to get sciencey. Shut up.
So
you went to Seattle with
we
your
went
dad.
to Seattle. We had to stay in this hospital that was paid for by the insurance.
Welcome to Spencer's marriage.
That was right next to the. It was right next to the hospital, and so it was like all the people that stayed in the hotel were people that were like going to the hospital, right in Seattle, and but it was this old fucking hotel. It was built in like 1920 or something like that. When I was there, I was looking at it because it was fucking creepy as shit, and I thought for sure we were going to experience something there, but we didn't. But I was like walking around after my dad went to sleep. I went outside and was like walking down through the halls, and there's all these creepy mirrors down the hallways. And it had one. The hotel had one old rickety elevator that went up and down. It was like 10 floors, but then like a spiral staircase that went up. That was the only staircase they had also. But I was like going up and down the stairs, just taking pictures and shit, hoping to see something. Thinking that if anywhere was going to be haunted there, I might catch it. But I don't know, it just put into my mind that I might want to stay in a haunted hotel at some point in the
I
near
would.
future. Somebody that might want to go.
I'm down. Let's go. We can share a bed.
Maybe we can find a haunted hotel in Vernal.
Maybe. I have looked at Airbnbs over there, so I mean, we do have to get plans nailed down for that. But
Yeah, I was looking at Airbnbs also. Anyways.
I'm definitely in. I mean, I don't know if it's just like morbid curiosity or whatever it is. If there's something paranormal related, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
So you don't want to go to Phenomicon?
Not that I don't want to go.
You are going?
Well, I went last year. I haven't planned to go this year. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I
I'm
saw what I needed to see.
definitely interested in it, but I also know that this is like you guys' thing. And if I just want to go because there's no kids there and I want to relax and I want to like run away and like starfish in the bed and lay in the hotel room or wherever we are and just like have peace and fucking quiet, that you're gonna worry about me and you're gonna be like, oh, is my wife okay? Is my wife okay? And feel like you can't relax because you're a good husband. And you're not gonna have fun if I'm there. So if you guys want to go, you go.
Want to go?
I would love to go with you, but it's your thing.
I think we should all
Are
go.
you trying to get this on record?
No.
I'm not gonna be mad at you about it. I
We're
already
just
talked to
nailing
Dave
down.
about it.
We're just, yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have to sit down and make those plans. So, I think we should close it out. Final thoughts on paranormal. Is it something that is tied directly to you as a person? Or is it something that just happens to you?
It's definitely not directly tied to me as a person, but there are definitely spirits that come to me because of who I am. I believe that 100%. I definitely do not ask for them. It doesn't have to happen to me very often, but when it does, it's very significant, and I don't think it's on accident.
I think it's both. I think that there are definitely energies attached to every person, no matter what. Like we talked about in the near-death experiences episode, where like if you charge your energy, your personal energy, with positive energies, you're going to attract those positive energies to you.
Mm-hmm.
if you charge your energies with negative, if you're negative all the time, you're going to attract more negative energies like darker spirits, and it seems like people that get afflicted with over time, like over and over and over with negative energies or negative entities,
You get sick.
yeah, they get sick and they're in that negative space all the time. They're just attracting more negative energy to them. So depending on how you're charged, those energies are going to kind of be attracted to you, whether they're people that you know. If you're positively charged, you might have more positive people in your life that have passed on that are attracted to you, and vice versa. If you're negatively charged all the time, then you're probably going to find yourself dealing with more negative energies.
We attract what we put out.
Right. And that was one of the things that one of the ladies in the near-death experiences, she had died and passed away for like 9 minutes, and was talking about how the people that were with her, like guiding her through this like transition, talked about was like any negative energy that you have towards another person kind of bridges a gap between you and that person. And so there's always going to be, if you have negative thoughts about this person, there's going to be negative energy that connects you to, until you break that negative energy and make a more positive bridge between you and this person. It's going to be a negatively charged atmosphere between you guys at all time, or in all interactions with this person. Or
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of what I believe. It's both happening all at once.
I agree with that, because I think that happens in like day-to-day relationships too.
Yeah.
Like in every aspect too, like friendships, marriages, like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think if I'm having a bad day, you also have a bad day, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And when we contact each other, if I'm having a bad day, you also are empathetically connected to me. I think that's definitely a thing, because we're very close, and you guys are very close. I think we all feel that from each other. Because she's one of my best friends, and I know you guys are very close too.
Tight.
Would you say
very
toy?
tight?
Yeah.
London Bridge tight.
Almost bridged?
Yeah,
That's what you're saying?
think that you're not London Bridge type, because I'm not in the middle.
I need to vision this London Bridge. I don't know how.
Is that what you need? Is some girl to be the
Like
bridge
this.
bird?
Okay, so
Dude.
hold on. So
Dude in the butt and dude in the mouth.
so isn't that DP?
No.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Oh,
Why is
can
it
we
London
pause
Bridge?
this?
No, hold on. Let's finish that. We'll have the rest of this conversation off air. I gotta get your
I love
closing
you
thoughts.
all one
Is
time.
paranormal attached to you because of who you are, or just happens to you?
I don't know. I mean, again, since I can remember, I've had paranormal experiences. So I don't know if I'm just open to that realm, or if they're drawn to me. I don't know, but something. I don't know. I can't explain it.
So what I was talking about is like why I think it's both is because I've had some experiences that are super personal, that are directed towards me, and I feel a super connection with those.
But you also feel
things.
that with the living.
But also, yeah.
So do I.
But also, I've had experiences that just happen.
Yeah.
That I don't think are connected to me in any way, but I just happen to see them or happen to feel them or
They are
experience
connected
that
to
thing.
you. They
Um,
are connected to you. Whether you see that or not, they are.
Maybe.
They were meant for you to be there.
Yeah. But like, say like the little girl at my mom's house, like I've seen this entity, but I didn't feel any type of way about it and just happened to see it. So
No,
is
but
that,
your daily interactions, like everyone we come into contact with, that was meant, that was like planned, that was, everything was like preconceived. Every single person you come in contact with, you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's true. I don't care what anyone says. Every single person that I come in contact with every single day, I know that like in some way I'm supposed to connect with them, like for like a couple seconds of their life.
Even if it's the guy like driving by that was
Yes.
telling you and you're like, fuck off! as they
Yes.
drive past.
Yes, because you're making them think, was I being a dick today? And they have to self-reflect. Yes, that's all of that. All of it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All of it is meant to be. I'm sorry, I don't care. It's all meant to be.
My final thought on that is, it's frequency, right? You're vibrating at a certain frequency. So you think about, let's say I'm a radio station and I am this 101.1, that you guys can all tune into 101.1 if you vibrate at that same frequency. So let's say it is a loved one, the entity of a loved one. They can tune into your frequency. What if it's a not so good person or entity?
They can still tune
They
into
can still
our
tune into
frequency.
that same frequency. Everybody can listen to the same radio channel at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just you and where you're at and what you're doing and how you feel. I think that's the closest I can come to a conclusion with it. With that said, this was fun, but I feel like there's more stories that we need to get to, so we'll have to do
there's way more.
an episode 2.
Yeah, let's do episode 2.
There's a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's settled. We're going to do another one.
Okay.
Okay, thanks guys.
Love
Okay,
you
love you.
long time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.